Emily Beebe and I were legendary party throwers. And in fact, many, many years in our 20s, did a Valentine's Day party every year, complete with a makeout closet.
Wow.
And yeah,
that is chic.
It was the chicest. And I don't even want to tell you, pre him meeting his wife, a friend of mine made out with Seth Rogen and was like, that's the best makeout of my life.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Lucky to be here.
Gina,
how long is it? How long have we been on this call? Like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but
maybe.
We were just shooting the shit, and Gina was quiet. And then the second
sleeping.
Yeah, the second that we started the podcast
let me let this little jerk out. Hold on one second. Well, here's hoping, because I can't supervise her on that balcony right now. Let's hope she doesn't do it. Doesn't finally decide to do it.
Hope this isn't the time. Gina has truly become your third child in that she hates the podcast. And the second that we start doing it, she's like, no. This is
How do they know? How do they all know?
I don't know.
Because, by the way, Birdie, I didn't even tell Birdie what I had to do at 8 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
But I was like, so got to get out of the house. This is Birdie's first day back at school post-Coves.
Oh, good.
2 negative days in a row, and then the kids are allowed back at school.
Okay.
Birdie will wear a mask for the next few days until they hit day 10, whatever.
Okay.
I think, although I'm not in that school, I don't know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
But that's what the idea is. But I'm much better. Actually, we were going to take a test. I thought maybe it would be fun.
Yeah.
Just a fun thing to do to find out live if I'm still testing positive. I feel totally fine.
Good.
Minus the fact that I did not sleep last night, which is annoying.
What? Why weren't you sleeping?
Well, I was nervous, Caissie, about waking up early for the podcast.
You were nervous about getting up. You wake up so early every day.
I know. And then, but that thing, it's like school. It's like the first day of school. So guys, just so you know, normally we do the podcast sort of in the afternoon because Caissie's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. And, I can't ask you to wake up before so early to hop on the phone and talk shit, but process our emotions. But you've been traveling forever now.
For it feels like 3 years I've been away from home, but it's really only been over a week.
10 days is a long time to travel.
It's a long time. Yeah.
I think 10 days is, for me, a traveling trip, not just I go away in the summer for a month or whatever.
Yeah. And then you have a home base and
right. But it's I literally pack 47 suitcases and my pour over coffee maker and everything comes with me. But you've been traveling and Caissie's on the East Coast and is flying back today, and because she's really such a deadline bitch, guys. She sent a text and was like, I think in order to make it work with my flight and editing and everything, gonna need to do the podcast at 8 a.m. your time. Is that gonna work? And I was like, yeah, easy. I'm up so early. And then last night I was just tossing and turning and what if I don't get up? And I don't know. It's so weird. Also, because Mark and Cricket are definitely not sick, but I mean, they never got really the brunt of it. It was really
right.
me and the bird. But they are still very in the weeds.
Right.
Still pause. So, and Mark actually did not feel good yesterday, I guess.
Oh gosh. Can I just tell you that well, first of all, when I texted you about could we do the podcast in the morning, you were so nice about it. And then I read back the text and I was like, this sounds like I sound like such a drama bitch because I was like, can we do the podcast at 8:00? Because I have to drive from Cape Cod to Rhode Island, drop off my rental car, get into the airport, go through security. And then once I'm through security, then I have to edit the podcast before I get on one of my 2 flights home. I'm like, I sounded like a real bitch baby.
You know what? It's allowed every once in a while. You don't complain ever about hardly anything, truly. Someone could but your limb off and you'd be like, you know what? I understand. I see it. I get it. And they're going through their own thing or whatever. But so I didn't think, I don't know. I always appreciate it when you have a rare moment of blah! I gotta do all this shit. I was thinking about it because this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Did you see Brene Brown's post this morning?
No, I didn't see it this morning.
Well, Brene Brown is taking a sabbatical. She's taking a step away.
Oh, good
and she's
for her.
encouraging her team to as well. So she's taking a break till September.
Oh, wow.
And she's said this really beautiful thing that's, I don't know, somebody else said, I don't fucking know. But about how, hold on. It's a quote. It's a famous quote. But then she was like, there's debate about who said it. And you can read more about it on my blog, which I'm not going to do. But the quote is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom.
Oh, wow. I love that. I love that for her.
But that's the quote, is she's attributing it to Viktor Frankl, but I guess there's debate. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But, she talks about what exists in that space between stimulus and response, and how if you don't allow yourself the space, how do you know if the response is the best you could give?
Yeah, I think that's so great. I love Brene Brown in a sea of people who have decided to become inspirational.
Brene Brown.
Influence. So everybody wants to be Brene Brown. But here's the thing is that I was recently watching the first episode of her show. She has a show that I can't tell you what the name of it is or
Sure.
what
but you
platform.
guys, we know.
It's on. Just
it's on something.
Go on your machine and look up Brene Brown and it'll tell you what the show is. But it just really struck me how that lady has done the work. She has been at this for years. Her inspirational talents were hard won through vigorous scholarly pursuits. And she's really done the work. She knows her stuff. I like her so much. And I'm so glad that she is taking a sabbatical. It's a lot more than just, telling people to feel the ground under their feet, no disrespect to anyone that has ever said that, but she's really great, and it's scientific and spiritual, and I just like her. I dig her.
Here's what I wanted to say though. That's a thing that you can do when you have money.
You're so right.
And I love it so much, but I was even thinking about us, and I was thinking about oh no, I'm going to cry. Am I going to cry? I might not cry. I was thinking about your retreat last week, your writing retreat. I was thinking about some upcoming travel I have for work, but also just some upcoming travel stuff I have, and in the summer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe you and I should do that as well. We should take time. And then I thought about the revenue that we generate from the ad sales for this podcast, and how for both of us, it makes a difference, and it is necessary. Like at
Yeah,
this point
I
in
mean-
my life, like it's, I was thinking about this the other day. Like I don't do so much, like I don't work with Olay anymore.
Right.
I don't have any like, big brand partnerships in this moment. Like,
Right.
I think that brands probably rightfully, I don't fucking know, whatever, but I think that they're probably trending more toward, TikTok stars and whatever.
Right.
I mean, I think there's always like a space for moms like me, but my kids are older. They're like not as cute, Like, that's just like the facts. The facts are that like teens
They
don't sell
grew.
diapers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's true. It's
and
true.
so like for me, I used to have a lot of supplemental income that I really count on so that I didn't have to be, so that I could work on other things and I didn't have to be like an actor for hire, like taking random ass acting jobs.
Like just being on a procedural drama on CBS for one
And guys,
night.
yes, and don't get me wrong, like Girls Five
That's
Eva
great, yeah.
definitely pays me, but
It's seasonal employment.
it's 8 episodes.
That we talked a lot about.
You know what, Cougar Town? I did 3 episodes a year.
Right. It used
For the
to be
first
a
like
different
couple
world.
years, and then we did 15,
Yeah.
like, which is like basically double 8.
Yeah. It used to be a different world, but we
Yeah.
talked a lot about that on the retreat this week, how it's all like you are paid well when you're working, but then when you're not working, you're not sort of paid at all usually. I mean,
Well, and you know who's
with
the worst
some
with money. Here's the thing, and I realize this as I'm looking at my like credit card that's like, please pay immediately or I'm sending you to a collection agency. I'm not joking. Like when I am making money, I give it away to people.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
you're,
and
you're
I really-
way too generous for real.
This month, now I might actually cry. Just this month, I was like, why the fuck have I been so generous? Like, where are those? I like, and I know people, you're listening, you're like, this is not relatable. Maybe it's not to you, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'm not, like, I just feel like that thing from Hello Dolly. Which is that money is like manure and it should be spread about, encouraging new things to grow.
Right.
And I just have I have always seen the absurdity in what I've been paid.
Yeah.
And so while I live a nice life, totally, like very privileged, and vacations and things that I did not have growing up, my kids have experiences, not just because I'm famous, like experiences, I mean, like vis-a-vis.
Yeah. Like
Meeting Olivia Rodrigo or whatever.
exactly.
But like my kids have experiences like camps and things that like, my parents did great, did very well. But at the same time, like sleepaway camp was a bridge too far for,
Right.
that was like a stretch.
Right.
Like my sister and I both got to do like a summer program one time growing up. And that
Right.
was like a big deal. And we knew it, my sister and I both worked as soon as we could. And by the way, my kids are going to have to work too, just FYI. And Birdie already knows that the guest star on Gloria's show doesn't count. That's not work.
But I think a lot
like,
of people probably can relate more than you think, because I think women in particular, I think that so many women, and tell me, you listening, tell us if this sounds familiar to you. I think a lot of women just work really hard to recognize people that they feel like should be recognized. And often, even if they don't have a lot of money, they do it through things like, I got you a coffee. I got you like this candy that I know that you like, just to say like, hey, you're doing a good job, or like, hey, I see you. Hey, I like you. I have so many girlfriends who are just like, they really go out of their way to spoil me in a way that I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, well, you guys at home, you bought me a fucking fireplace just for like, to say whatever, we like you and we know you want a fireplace. fireplace, which is like the nicest thing that's ever happened to me. And I just don't even know what to do with my feelings about that. And I can't wait to go home and hug my fireplace because I haven't had a chance to spend any time with it because I got on a plane to go do some stuff. But I think that, you know, even people that aren't, you know, spokesmodels for Olay, former Olay spokesmodels.
Former Olay spokesmodel. By the way, I hope they saw that when I was doing press just now, I really did put that sunscreen in one of my like summer must-haves because I do fucking love that sunscreen. And I was like, I literally said in the thing, I was like, I don't work with them anymore.
Right.
But I'm glad I did because you know what I got out of it? This sunscreen.
That sunscreen, yeah.
And a lot of money. My kids got to go to a nice school.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, you know, it's just, I think you're right. Like, and I think women especially, I don't know, for me also, maybe someone would make the argument it's about like, do you value yourself? Do you value your blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And also, I do. You know I do.
Right.
Like, I won't, you know, I won't work if someone is not offering me what I think I'm worth.
Right.
To be paid. I've like walked away from shows and things where I'm like, that's not fair because actually I know what the dudes are making and no.
Right.
But at the same time, I just also can't help but like, when the bank account is full, instead of saying like, oh, let me take that chunk and put it deeper.
Right.
I'm like, let me take that chunk and like help this person redo their backyard. I know they really need to. And it's like, and they've got kids and like whatever, you know, like a person in my life.
Yeah.
And like, I just.
You're like a celebrity IOU, but it's not on TV.
And nobody ever pays me back.
Well, I think Celebrity IOU, that's the Property Brothers show. And that's the one where like a celebrity like does over like a room in someone's house because they feel like they owe their English
Property
teacher.
Brothers, hit me up. I want to do that. I would love to do that.
I know you would. I feel like you would love that opportunity to be like, let me do my school secretary's porch over or whatever.
I would redo your backyard and make your swimming pool bigger. Not climbable.
Oh yeah,
like
that
just
is
like in ground.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
I would do like a whole thing for you.
That's gonna be a thing.
What if I put in like one of those things? Okay, now let's just play this game. What if I did one of those things? What if I designed a thing with the Property Brothers where it's like you can turn that thing on and then it gives you like resistance so you can swim laps against the resistance. Would you be into that?
That's what mine has.
No, I know, but yours is like a little tiny like can I tell you what I've never seen you in it. Can I tell you what I imagine?
Yes.
Okay, I imagine something that is I don't know what that is, circumference.
Yeah.
Like that it's like 5 feet across on all sides. Like, so it's like, I imagine it really, really small.
Like the size of a dumpster?
Bigger than a dumpster. Bigger than a dumpster. Like, I imagine it to be like the size of like one of those plastic kiddie pools that you get at CVS in the summer.
Yes. But
tall and full of water. I imagine it to be like, and in my head, you sort of like can't even stretch out and you just sort of like are circling around a little bit like Daryl Hannah in Splash when she's in the tank.
When she's in the tank, yes.
And she's just like curling around and curling around.
Okay, if I had a mermaid tail, that might be the case. But just so to give you like, to paint you a bigger picture.
When I'm in LA next, can I come see it?
Yeah, you can totally come see it. It's 6 feet tall. So
that's about right. That's what I thought.
It's taller than I am. It's 8 feet wide, which is wider than you would think.
That's wider than I thought.
It's 20 feet long. And then the
length. That's big.
Yeah. The length of it, 1/3 of it is like a hot tub. And then 2/3 of it is like a rectangular pool.
What is this? How did we get this?
It's a swim spa. It's not like, remember when you were looking at like container pools? Like,
Yeah.
it's not unlike that.
Wait, but how does it come? In a box?
No, they used a crane to lift it over our house, and our whole neighborhood came out. And we were very nervous that our neighbors would be like, you're going to crush my house, or like, what kind of dipshits are you? And for the most part, well, first of all, I thought that I was going to have to be out of the house while the crane lifted it over, because that is something that I just can't take.
Seems terrifying.
And instead, I just hid inside my house so that I couldn't see it.
And then if it fell on your house, you would just die.
It would just be like a real
because
Wizard
you could
of
die.
Oz.
You would die like of embarrassment and or also just of being crushed by your swim spa.
But my husband and my kids were out front, and they saw all the neighbors come out, and then they waited with bated breath to hear like what the neighbors would say. And to our face, at least, everybody was like, "We're into it. We're in support of it. We think it's great." And they were all very nice about letting us bring a giant crane. Well, it just came with a giant crane. We couldn't do anything about it.
Right. There's nothing you can do about a crane.
Yeah. Onto our cul-de-sac. And they just set it down. Set it down, fun fact, on 4 ice bags. They told us to get bags of ice and to put them down as the crane was lowering it. And then the ice melted and gently lowered it to our patio. So that's a genius idea. Genius.
Okay, wait. Do you want to hear the biggest, waste of a crane?
Yes.
Okay. So old house, Whitley. And then we got to talk about COVID because we got to fucking talk about it.
And you were just opening your test, and
we got to talk about COVID.
We got to talk about. Nobody's talking about.
No one is talking about COVID, and we've got to talk about it. Okay.
Biggest waste of a crane.
When we moved when Mark and I first started dating, we had these sort of like, I would call them legendary parties. Sure.
Yeah, you're a legendary party thrower.
For sure, 100% I am. In fact, at one point, someone was telling me about a New Year's Eve party that they went to once. And I was like, sir, that was my party. You were at my New Year's Eve party. Anyway, had no idea. The person had no idea.
That's hilarious.
But so when we would do our parties, and now guys, you got to keep in mind, we're talking 17 years ago. Is that right? Jesus fucking Christ. Whoo! 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like a real, wanted to make things like chic and fun. And don't forget, here are the things that did not exist. Social media.
Right.
Pinterest.
Right.
Anything. Martha Stewart's blog existed.
Yes.
By the way. That's
true. Yeah.
Martha Stewart's blog. And Emily Beebe and I used to get lots of ideas from Martha Stewart's blog. And in fact, also just from the magazine, just Martha's magazine.
I love that magazine.
Before Mark and I got together, Emily Beebe and I were legendary party throwers. And in fact, many, many years in our 20s, did a Valentine's Day party every year, complete with a makeout closet.
Wow.
And
that is chic.
It was the chicest. And I don't even want to tell you, pre him meeting his wife, a friend of mine made out with Seth Rogen and was like, that's the best makeout of my life. Swear to God.
Seth, sorry to no, not sorry. We're telling people
good.
that
I'm
you're
happy for Lauren. Congratulations.
A hot kisser.
Congrats.
Wow.
Still talks about it, my friend. Married, children. She's like, remember when I made out with Seth Rogen?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I guess. I don't know. All right.
You never know. You never know when something that you do in a closet at a party is going to someone's going to carry it with them for life.
The point being, I got to be in my bonnet when Mark and I first started dating about this New Year's party that we needed to have a vintage photo booth at it.
Right.
And this is, guys, again, When I tell you I'm ahead of my time.
Yeah, it was way before.
I am ahead of my time.
Yeah.
And I was, fresh off of, I don't even fucking know what job I had just done. White Chicks. Had that money burning a hole in my pocket again.
That
See,
White Chicks
got to get rid of
money.
it. just gotta spend it. And I found online this guy who it was like for bar mitzvahs, like bar and bat mitzvahs and like weddings.
Oh my God.
And he would drive this vintage photo booth from, I think, Texas. He lived in
Wow.
Texas or something, to your party. And it was not cheap. I think it was like, I want to say it was like $1,500. Again,
Okay.
17 years ago, guys, inflation. So that's like $4 million now. And this is why I'm currently getting statements from my credit card, like, please pay your bill right now.
You still have to pay for that photo booth.
My knowledge. Well, I was just saying I have no fucking concept of money. Like, I always think like if I were on Price is Right, I would fail so miserably because people, this about me, because people would be
Yes.
like, how much does a gallon of milk cost? And I'd be like, $27.50. No, I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. $1.25. Is that more right? Okay, so it's like $10 is a gallon. Is that what a gallon of milk is? $10? I have no fucking idea.
That's how everyone I've ever worked with, by the way, who's like, on TV and like once you get to the place where someone's like maybe helping you by getting your milk for you because you don't have time to get your milk, that's what happens.
Well, let me tell you something though. I get my own milk, Caissie, and clearly the credit card company will tell you I should pay fucking attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, that's what I was going to say. You're not checking the price of milk. You just know you have to get it. And so you just get it and then
Yes.
you hear about it later.
I mean, we've talked before about my sister Leanne being the coupon clipping
Queen. Yeah.
And I envy it. I really do.
Yeah.
And I will always use a Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. And I
Yeah.
will always use a Michael's coupon.
Yeah.
Those are the two coupons I have in my arsenal.
They make it really easy.
Yes.
Those establishments make it really easy. But also I'm like, how you could make it easier? Just make your shit cheaper. And then no coupons. And then everyone would
But they got to trick you.
They got to trick you. I know. I resent the tricking.
Occasionally I'll say to a person at a place, like when they ask me about coupons, I'll be like, don't you have any? No, I will. And I'll be like, no, I'll say, don't you have any? And like, if you say it really nice, sometimes they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I do. Here, hold on.
They always just have the flyer there and they just ring up the flyer for you at like my stores. They don't even ask if you have the coupon.
You know what else is insane?
What?
Those rewards cards.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what?
I'm just trying to be chic. Why do I have to have like a ring full of keys like fucking Schneider with all of your grocery coupons?
Just put it.
Cards.
Guys, that reference, I barely know, but I know enough. Is it Welcome Back, Cotter?
No, it's
No.
1 day at a time.
1 day at a time. Right.
Schneider with like, why do I have to look like a building superintendent with every grocery store card on the key ring?
Don't you just put it on? Just put your phone number on.
Yes, but like I hate just saying my phone number out. And
You
again,
just type it. You type it in, babe.
sometimes they want to type it in.
But here's what I will say to you. Here, the 3 phone numbers I always try are my own whenever I'm in any store. Because I'm
Right.
like, the chances are it's my own, Mark's, and Emily BB's.
there you go.
3 phone numbers I try. Shit,
Emily-
I
poor
forgot
Emily
my Olive and June nail polish. I wanted to paint my nails while we were talking today.
Oh no.
Fuck, I left it at the other house.
Oh.
Too many houses, guys. Again, let's
Bad
talk
with
about how
money.
I'm bad with money.
Bad with money, bad with nail polish.
Wait, back to photo booth guy. So this
Yeah.
guy would show up. He was very Russian, and his name was Mike. And he showed up with this vintage photo booth and set it up, tested it, and had the chemicals and everything in Mark's backyard at the time. Mark's at the time backyard, not Whitley. This is coming around, guys. Just you fucking wait. COVID is out of my body. It's a whole new world. I'm going to tell a story that goes somewhere. And he was an interesting character.
Yeah.
One, he came to a couple parties for us, and toward the mid end of the night, inevitably the phone booth would always
the photo booth.
The photo booth would always break down at some point.
It's vintage.
And get jammed up.
Yeah.
And then he would have to go in, and Mark and I would always find a stack of this guy's photos the next day somewhere.
Oh no.
Around. Okay.
Yeah.
Of pictures that he took trying out the machine.
Okay.
But also, I think he came to 2 or 3 parties. Maybe just two. Before I'll get to where I'm getting with this. He would get in the booth with people toward the end of the night, when people were drunk.
Yeah.
And I never knew if he was getting drunk as well. I could just assume that he was, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do remember being in his photo booth with my friend Candy, and then he popped in and then stuck his entire tongue in my ear.
Oh, wow.
For a photo.
Wow.
I have the picture somewhere.
I'm sure.
Of my shocked expression.
Yeah. That's one of those moves that I hope, I haven't been on the photo booth or dating scene in a while. I hope it's one of those moves that's going by the wayside, because it's never been sexy just to give someone a wet willy right with your tongue.
Well, it's also tastes disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, the earwax is notoriously it's
disgusting.
It's a gross jelly bean.
Sakara. You know what I feel about Sakara.
I know you love it so much. I love it as well. I really need Sakara.
There's a Sakara mention in Jenny Mullen's book too.
Oh, really? I really need it after this week of traveling to get my stuff right.
You know what? That is the best part, because feeling your best starts with what you eat.
Yes.
And Sakara helps you not just live a healthy, balanced lifestyle, but it's also delicious. It's plant-rich meals, functional wellness essentials. It builds a foundation, but it also it helps you get back on track. And they're ready-to-eat meals, so you don't have to think about it. Sakara is a wellness company anchored in food as medicine, and it's on a mission to nourish your body through the power of plants. It really does it all for you, which is
and it's also delicious.
Yeah, that's me. Well, I was going to say the taste is number 1. Number 2, in a close second, is the ease of it.
Yes. It's getting it delivered, knowing
chef
that
crafted breakfasts, lunches, dinners with plant-based ingredients that boost your energy, support your digestion, really helps me get back on track post illness.
Yeah.
And it really does make your skin glow, not going to lie. And it just comes straight to your door. What's not to like? Guys, Sakara has received rave reviews from Vogue, Goop, the New York Times, and me, Busy Phillips, for years, even before they advertised on the podcast.
And Jenny Mullen.
Right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/busy or enter code BUSY at the checkout. That's Sakara. It's spelled SAKARA.com/BUSY. And you're going to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/busy. Theragun.
You literally gasped at the beginning of the Theragun ad.
Because I was so excited to talk about it because I love it so much.
I love it so much. Theragun is one of my top best friends.
This is a therapy device.
Yes.
that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and power. And it's very quiet.
Like an electric toothbrush.
Just like
you
an
know, when
electric toothbrush.
I fell in love with Theragun when we worked at Busy Tonight.
Oh,
and
I know.
They were
I
like,
know.
let us come by and Theragun your staff so that everyone can feel good. And it was, oh my God, I never wanted to leave that Theragun.
Well, it's the best. It's the best thing. Whether it's like you're treating muscle tension from working out, or you have an injury, or just like, honestly, you sleep weird, or you just have like stress and
or you're just
hold it
tense
in your shoulders or your butt. I don't know. There is no substitute for the Theragun Gen 4. I'm like, I'm really into it.
Yeah, it's so good. This whole podcast has been talking about like taking space and taking time for the things that you need and treating yourself right. And Theragun is, it's a real investment in giving yourself what you need.
Listen, the new physical therapist that I'm seeing for my knee uses the Theragun.
That's amazing. Theragun's also trusted by 250 professional sports teams like Real Madrid and elite athletes like Paul George, DeAndre Hopkins, Maria Sharapova, hundreds of thousands of customers, and both of us. I don't know who all those athletes are, but they
I was like literally
good.
like, I know who Maria Sharapova is.
Her I know.
Okay. But anyway, guys, if you haven't tried Theragun, you must try Theragun for 30 days, starting at only $199 right now. Go to therabody.com/busy, all lowercase. The busy is BUSY, all lowercase. And get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's Therabody, THERABODY.com/busy, all lowercase. Therabody.com/busy.
You get to try it for 30 days. Try it.
Just try it. So anyway, early days of the internet.
Yeah.
Mike shows up a couple times. I think it was after the ear licking incident that I was like, do we have to have this guy back again?
Right.
And Mark was like, but everybody loves the photo booth. I was like, everybody does love the photo booth. I love the photo booth.
But we don't love
Should
Mike.
we buy a photo booth? And Mark was like, how would we even do that? And so I went on a new site called eBay.
I remember Rosie O'Donnell's the person that told me about eBay.
And you know who told me about First Dibs?
Who?
Nate Berkus.
Of course.
Of course. Obviously.
Talk about chic.
I went on eBay and I found a vintage photo booth that was being sold, I don't know, by a business. It was by a bar that was like going out of business.
Yeah.
And I bought it because it was the same price as Mike.
renting. Yeah. Without the tongue licking.
Right.
I mean, the ear licking.
I mean, the ear licking was unacceptable. And so then it traveled in a giant crate.
Sure.
From wherever it was, the middle of the country somewhere.
Yeah.
To much like your fireplace, I imagine, except without the community of support rallying around it. And just me paying some shipping company to ship it to us.
There was no spirit behind it.
There was no spirit behind it. So they ship it to Mark's house at the time. We're not married yet. And I remember when it showed up and we were just like, oh no, what did we do? What the fuck did we do? This is insane. This giant, like, it came with its own, what are those things called? Like trolleys, you know,
like a dolly?
Like a dolly, but like for heavy machinery.
Oh, sure. A forklift.
Yeah, like its own little mini forklift. Yes,
Oh my
like
God.
not like a manual forklift. Yes,
Whoa.
exactly.
Whoa.
And which, by the way, I think that got left in LA. That device.
Oh,
it was
bummer.
useful. Let me tell you
Yeah,
something.
of course.
So, and it was like, it was like ugly. I mean, just all of it was just an interesting choice.
Yeah.
As a 26-year-old. But we like loved it, you know? And so then we realized, well, we need somebody to service it because it's a vintage photo booth that has chemicals and all this stuff. And so I find this service company and make an appointment, and like, it's like, okay, you're going to need monthly service. And like, they've actually stopped making that, or Polaroid or whoever used to make Kodak or whoever made the paper stopped making it. But this one company like has all of it. Like they took all of the
Backstock, the dead
backstock, the dead stock. And so they've got it. And so when you want it, we have to get it from this company, whatever. And I'll be there like in 3 weeks to like check it out and blah, blah, blah. It's fucking Mike. Mike shows up.
Oh, no. No.
It's Mike. Yeah.
No.
Yes. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, well, you're supposed to be in our life, sir. So welcome. So then Mark and I get married, and we moved into my house, and he sold his house, and we moved the photo booth into the garage, I think, of the house that I was living in at the time, the house that bankrupted me. This is all about my financial woes, guys.
Yeah.
Today's episode is about my bad financial decisions.
About splashing out and
By the way,
crashing
like
and burning.
that house that I then sold to another actress that I had bought from an actress who had purchased it from an actress. That house is literally like, even with all of the price inflation and everything that's happened in Los Angeles, like that house, I think you could buy it today for like exactly what I bought it for. You know what I mean? Like it has not appreciated in value because it's like so specific and the area wasn't great. And it's just like it just was a terrible investment. Wow. Mark's house that he sold when we got married and moved in to my house, because I had just bought my house at like the height of the market before it crashed in 2008. Mark's house, I weirdly, just keep looking, not weirdly, I've been looking at real estate in Los Angeles like nonstop, just all the time now, in the last few weeks. Mostly just to torture myself. But like where Mark's house was, I know what he sold he bought that house in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah.
Then sold it and made a huge amount of money when he sold it. Uh-huh. And now it's literally appreciated in value, like those houses right there where in his neighborhood. There's a house on the street that he had his house on. It's like, so let's say, he sold it probably like 15 years ago, I would say. So 15 years is a long time. It's like $3 million up. $3 million.
God.
He bought it
for nothing.
Less than $1 million. Yeah. It's crazy. If he had just fucking done what he wanted to do and what he told me we should do.
But
anyway,
what's the value of listening to the person you're about to marry?
Exactly.
Maybe it's worth $3 million. Who knows? Uh-huh. Making them happy.
Okay. So
anyway.
So photo booth. So then, or was the photo booth in the house? No, I don't think it was. No, it was in the basement or in the like garage.
The garage.
So then I get pregnant with Birdie like immediately.
Yeah.
we realize there's no way we can stay in this ridiculous house that I've purchased for many reasons, the largest of which is that there was no like room for a baby. It was just so stupid. The house was so stupid. Also, it was like treacherous stairs and tile that was super slippery.
Sure.
That like, I mean, it was not great. So that's when we found Whitley.
Yeah.
We looked at houses for like a long time. We found Whitley. And as soon as I walked in, you know, I knew it was my house.
Yeah.
And we bought it. So then did some work to it, like redid the kitchen and did some bathrooms because, you know, I can't.
Yeah, can't leave it. Yeah.
Can't just move in.
Right. Got to make it your own.
Someone needs to tell me I need to stop doing that because it's, I was actually thinking that last night when I was in the new house.
Yeah.
I was looking around at it and I was like thinking about what it needed. And then I was like, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah.
You don't even want to live in New York. You're going to be here like as long as Girls 5 Eva is going.
Right.
And then you're going to get the fuck out of here. Stop it. Stop making this your own. Just live with it.
I think it's hard because you enjoy doing that. Like you enjoy making something over and like, you know, so it's hard to just.
Yeah, I also enjoy not having like notifications from my credit card company. You know what I mean?
But yeah.
All I'm saying is that like I've looked online. Like, you know, I'm not a DIYer.
No, that's true.
And I was even thinking because we're like, we really do at some point we will do it. Like when I get another job or when we get more money.
Yeah.
Like we really need a carpet runner.
Yeah.
On the stairs. Poor Gina has tripped like 4 times because she just slips on the stairs, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And we refinished the floors in the house, but we didn't do the stairs because we're going to do a carpet runner. We have like an estimate and we picked out the carpet, but it's like so fucking exorbitantly expensive.
Yeah.
And then I was looking online and I was like, could I do this by myself? And the answer is no.
Someone could, but just not for you. It's not for you.
It's not for her. So anyway, we get Whitley. We do work on it. I'm slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking. This baby's coming. We need to move into this fucking house before I pop Bird out.
Right.
Okay. So then it's like, finally, everything is like mostly done. They still need to like do touch-up painting and some like finishing work, but it's all going to be fine.
Right.
And we start to move our furniture in.
Yeah.
Like some of Mark's stuff has been in storage. The stuff that was in my house is moving over. It's like a lot to organize.
Yeah.
And then it's the photo booth. And the moving company comes over, you know, and sees the photo booth. And they're like, so we're going to need a crane.
Right.
And we're going to have to take out this giant window in your house.
Window, yeah.
The picture window in your house. We're going to have to remove it. So we're going to need to hire a glass company to come, remove the picture window, then come back, you know, and stay there for the day while we move the photo booth in with the crane, and then replace the picture window. And you're going to need your waterproofers there as well because we want to make sure. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Okay. Then the contractor is like, well, we need to make sure that the joists in the floor where we're going to put this photo booth are strong enough because Whitley had, you know, a guest house underneath it.
Right.
And also like a basement. We had a basement in that house. So then it was like about establishing the floor joists and making sure.
Right.
This whole thing to get this photo booth into the home. Photo booth Like the crane comes, the whole again, like you said, the whole neighborhood came out. Like, what are these new people doing? What are they hoisting in to their home?
Right.
So we had that photo booth in the living room, and we serviced it, we kept it up, and the chemicals were weird. Sometimes they would smell. Sometimes I was like, this is probably not the best thing. And at a certain point, Mike ceased to be the only game in town.
Right.
And there was this, and we found, it was when we were doing Busy Tonight.
Yeah.
Ray found another like photo booth company. Photo booths became en vogue.
Right.
They actually like became a thing because,
because you
ahead of her
supported
time.
the industry.
And this is a 44-minute story about a fucking photo booth, guys. I'm so sorry. Should I just quit? What am I doing? Should I continue?
Now you got to just finish.
Right. Anyway, this guy comes and he looks at it and he's like, why did you guys decide to keep these chemicals and everything? And we're like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, it could just all be digital. We're like, well, we like the way that it looks, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I get it. All right, well, you'll let me know if you ever move so I can come and take apart the whole thing and you can like move it out easily and move it back in. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Could have just carried it right up the stairs piece by piece.
Yeah. Yes, Caissie. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
anyway, we didn't end up even taking it. We left it.
You left it as part of the deal. Do you miss it or were you over it?
Well, here's what I'll say. I hope that the people like it and use it in the way that we did, which was that like, I think I heard a rumor that they maybe took it out of the living room and like, I don't know, the guy put it in his office somewhere else.
Okay.
Which is a bummer because I really have such an incredible record of like,
yes,
the first 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I know.
it's like,
my kids have so many photos from that photo booth.
Yeah. But it's also like I would ask people to leave them too. It wasn't just like obviously anyone could use it when they came over.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, like crazy, just like crazy cool people who were at random parties and dinner parties. There was like period of time before I knew you where there were lots when Birdie was a baby where we would have just these like insane dinner parties.
Yeah.
Because I would just put Birdie to sleep.
Right. And then
yeah. And then I would have to go up there like 7 times.
Yeah.
But, but, and so like, I know that these people had a baby when they moved in or I don't know before. So whatever, they have a new kid. I mean, I guess this baby's like a toddler now, but, like I look back, I found some of the photo booth pictures when we moved into the new house and like just getting to see baby Birdie in the photo booth with like Mike White or some like random or like, just like
just who was there,
whoever was there at the, and it was, I don't know. It's like a fun record to have. I mean, I guess also, guys, people didn't have iPhones.
Right.
I guess that's like the bigger thing that I'm not even remembering.
Yeah, it's so funny. People always ask me, like, whenever I tell stories about when my kids were little or whatever, they're always like, oh, I hope you have a video of that. And I'm like, yeah, there wasn't really, we didn't have that. Like when my older son was born, I was given a beeper by the hospital to beep my husband if he needed to meet me at the hospital. A beeper.
That's amazing.
Okay, Busy's opening her nasal swab.
I think we should do it, guys.
Yeah,
so,
do it. I just took a test in the parking lot of Target the other day because I flew from my retreat. Busy doesn't even have to look at the instructions, by the way. She knows the whole process so well for taking the nostril COVID test. Yeah, I took one in the Target parking lot because I just flew from Minnesota to Cape Cod to visit my mom. And I've been on so many planes and no one has a mask on. No one has a mask on in the airport. So I took a test.
How's that making you feel?
Nervous, and like nervous. And then I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm thinking like if there's an explosion of COVID because of like undoing the mask mandates or whatever, or mask suggestions, I feel like there's not going to be a way to convince people to go back at this point.
Oh, I think it's over. You're right.
Yeah.
So, I really thought I was Matt Damon in Contagion. Like, I really thought like that I had some inherent antibody that was like preventing me from getting this disease.
But it's just like that article said, you just don't know enough people to get it. No, that's not true. Everyone.
What? I've been exposed like multiple times.
Right. But you were being super careful and therefore reducing the chances and, but there's still the chances,
Well, yeah. And then I realized like I know a ton of people who haven't gotten it yet.
Right. Right.
And
all right, 15 minutes. She just put the drops in.
Here's what I'll say. Before 15 minutes, by the way. Here's what I'll say. Like, so here's my journey, my Cove's journey. Do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Well, not unconvinced that the leak by Justice Alito isn't the leading cause of me getting COVID.
You think it just like your immune system was like, I'm going to bed?
I think my immune system was like, yeah, like shut it down. Get in bed. Shut it the fuck down.
I
think I Brene Browned myself.
Yeah, I believe
inadvertently.
It, Biz. I believe, because think of like every time you got through like school and it just seemed like you were like firing on all cylinders, and then the second that it came to be like your semester break or whatever, you'd come down with something like
relatable to me is
getting
that
through a movie or
every time I would do like on Dawson's Creek. Without fail,
yeah,
I got sick either Thanksgiving break or Christmas break.
Yeah.
Like sicker than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
But I was fine until then.
Yeah. So just the second that like your work adrenaline shuts off, then all the germs that have been around you are like, we're coming in.
Well, we had been exposed, and I already knew Birdie had it.
Yeah.
I mean, the babysitter gave it to Birdie.
Right.
And I was sorry, I don't mean to blow her spot up, but whatever. She's fine. This is in Espanol.
Oh, there's another sheet that's in English still inside the box, I bet. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happened to me in the Target parking lot.
Well, so the babysitter exposed both me and Birdie. Cricket and Mark were not exposed at all to the babysitter. Okay. So I have a really good feeling about this test right now. I'm just going to tell you.
Okay. Fingers
just looking
crossed.
down at it.
Fingers crossed.
But Birdie was most exposed.
Right.
I was secondly exposed.
Got it.
So, and we talked about it a bit on the podcast. Also, it was just so ironic that like Steve had been on the podcast
talking about COVID.
And I was like, feel like she's coming for us, whatever. And then she really came for me.
She really came. She heard you.
She heard me taunting her.
Can I tell you something, Busy? I thought for sure that I had it too, like coming, but it's just that every time I'm around people now, like outside of my house, even fully masked, and like I do a lot of weird behaviors that I'm not even going to get into because there's no evidence that they protect you from COVID. I'm just doing them at this point because it's like my ritual to like fend it off. But every time,
what? Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do?
Like, I use iodine to swab things off, and like I usually like swab my nose with iodine, like before I'm gonna be like on a set or in a plane for a long time.
Okay.
And just like the hand washing and wiping everything down, which I know like they've literally called it COVID theater, whatever. But every time I'm around people, I get like 2 cases of pink eye, a sore throat, a headache. And I think it's just like, it's never been COVID. I've never had a positive test, knock on wood so far. But being around people makes my eyes fucking turn pink and like infects my mucous membrane somehow.
Here's what I would like to say to everyone, because I was you. You fucking know when you got COVID. It sucks so hard. It is sinister in your body.
Yeah.
It feels like your bones are breaking from the inside out.
Oh, Lord.
It feels like someone has put one of those things on your head and is turning the crank and making it tighter and tighter and tighter. And any second, your head is about to pop like a grape.
Oh, God.
It feels like you are literally insane.
I know.
And nothing makes sense. And all you can do is sob.
Yeah. That's bad.
For like 2 days.
For like 2, or for like a month. For some people.
Yes. And that, I was thinking about that and I was like, oh my fucking God. Whoa. Like if I had to I don't know what the fuck I would do.
If you had it for so long.
I did not take any medicine.
Right.
COVID medicine.
Right.
I was not above calling multiple doctors to ask about it. I'm of the mindset, you know me, look at it, I've got like all my fucking supplements and all my shit. I wasn't of the mindset that I should take it.
Right.
But I just wanted to know because I literally felt like I was like close to death.
Like, yeah, I know you were really sick.
I was really, really fucking sick and really insanely out of it. So I talked to my doctor in LA, who I love. I talked to my guy here, who I love, who is the one that, you know, the bacterial intestinal got me the CAT scan and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, they both basically, and then my publicist Ala here talked to like close friend of hers who's an emergency care doctor here. Who all said like kind of a version of the same thing, which is that like if you can make it through without taking the anti-COVID drugs, you should, because you want your antibodies to build up and you want your body to fight it completely.
Right.
That they had started to see cases with the one drug. And again, guys, I'm not a doctor. Talk to your own doctors. I talked to 3. What's it called? The drug. Paxlovid. They've started to see with Paxlovid what they're calling these like rebound cases of COVID.
Right.
Which is that people get better and they test negative and either get a new infection of COVID or it's the same COVID that like comes back
Right.
And then it's like kind of worse.
Ugh.
And I wondered, because I just saw that Colbert just tested positive again
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
after being negative. And I wondered, I'm sure he took Paxlovid, because I do
Maybe,
feel like
yeah.
that's a thing that people were
Well,
doing.
people that are like hosting multi-million-dollar TV shows and
Right.
they're telling
they're
you
like-
you have to get back on TV as soon as possible. Yeah, probably.
Yes, exactly. That was my point.
Probably.
So that was so my doctor here was like, I'd like to get you the prescription, like waiting.
In case you start to pass away.
If you need it,
Yeah.
we want to keep you out of the hospital.
Right.
But if you can like make it another 24 hours, I think
Right.
you're going to like turn a corner. And then when that happens, then you don't need to take this drug, and it's actually going to be better for you. Okay.
And that's
So-
a mild case, guys. That's like what would be considered, I guess, a mild case.
Yes. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, is that people keep saying like, I mean, it's just like a cold or a flu, blah, 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 blah. I mean, those have to be people who haven't had it.
Right. Right.
Because everyone now that I've talked to Robin Shore, I've talked to like all my friends who've had it recently.
Yeah.
And every one of us felt the same, which is that like when Steve said he knew that it was
Yeah,
COVID,
that it just felt
it's
different.
unmistakable. It is
Right.
unlike any illness I've ever had. And she's had them all.
Right.
So it was like, you do not fucking want this.
Right.
Like, it was horrible. Like,
Yeah.
it was like actually horrible. And the worst part too, or one of the worst parts, was that we were all in this house together.
Right.
And by the time I started to feel like terrible, Mark had gone down.
Oh, no.
So I tested positive. So after we finished the podcast last week,
Right.
I literally was like, we finished it and I was like, something's not right with me. Like, I started to feel like head cuckoo. Like,
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
focus. Like, it was just
Yeah.
weird. Something was off. I called Mark and he's like, well, since Birdie already has it, like here, instead of staying here at Casa Kismet, he's like, just come back here.
Right.
Like, come back to the family home. Because, when I had the bacterial thing in my gut and I was
Right.
the only one that had it, I stayed at Casa Kismet
at Casa
in
Kismet,
case
right.
it was COVID, because I
Right.
didn't want to give it to the whole family.
Right.
But he was just like, don't stay by yourself. Like, come
Right.
home, because at least we're all here. But by the time I started to feel really bad Wednesday morning, I tested positive as soon as I got home.
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, I started to feel really bad. And by that point, Mark, we already had decided like Cricket was not going to school.
Right.
Because why am I
Right.
not doing that to people?
Right.
And Birdie hadn't gone to school since Friday. So
Right.
Cricket did go Monday and Tuesday, but then we kept Cricket home from like Wednesday. But Cricket and Mark didn't test positive until Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
But they we were not, Birdie and I were isolated in our own rooms,
Right.
but like,
it's just hard.
it's hard.
It's hard to isolate.
hard.
Yeah. Unless you're
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And also, like, poor Cricket was like the last one standing and is 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, like, she's not making her own mac and cheese. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. But so many kids have been in that position. I've heard of so many kids, like little kids. I think someone I knew, the mom and dad both got it, and like a 12-year-old was left to like fetch everything for them and try to stay negative, and what a nightmare. But that's why I'm so paranoid just to be like, because, we're saying like a mild case you had and mild was not mild at all. I mean, whatever, like if I get sick. Like, I don't want to get sick. That wouldn't be good for me. But I just am so paranoid of having an asymptomatic case and getting someone else sick. Because, like, there's so many people I do want to kill, like, in theory, but I don't want to kill anyone with COVID accidentally. If I'm going to kill someone, I want it to be intentional in my choice of victim.
I mean, I felt so stupid yesterday and today, like walking over to Casa Kismet wearing a mask, like on the street. But I just am like, what's the like, I can't, I feel the same way. Like,
yeah.
I don't want anyone to have this at all. I saw Katie Storino from like 15 feet away and I was like, don't come any closer.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty much better, but I don't even know if I'm negative yet. Okay, so here's the disappointing news. But the line is faint.
A faintly positive test.
I thought it wasn't going to pop up, but it popped up.
Well,
That's
maybe tomorrow.
It's a fucking bummer.
Oh, so you're just stuck for how are Mark and Cricket? How far along are they in their journey?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, so Cricket had one day, Saturday, I think, where she had a low-grade fever and was cranky.
Yeah.
And then was fine.
Okay.
Thank God. I was very concerned, you know?
And
Mark is like, his thing is weird. Because he's like, he was never like me, you know, like where I was like down for the count. But I think he's just continuing to fight it. He just feels like at different points during the day, he's like, oh, I don't feel good. My head hurts really bad.
Yeah. It's not over, everyone. It's not over. But I'm sorry that Bird is negative now.
Negative for 2 days. Okay. And like totally 100% back to normal.
Well, maybe you'll be negative tomorrow because I feel like Bird was positive for 2 days before you. And so if they tested negative 2 days ago, maybe tomorrow you'll be no line. Fingers crossed for no line.
I just texted Mark and he said, yeah, one more day. You know.
Yeah. It's
a lot. Terrible.
Yeah. It's a lot.
This episode of Busy Phillips is Doing Your Best is brought to you by the new Showtime original comedy series, I Love That For You. Joanna Gold's dream is to become a home shopping channel star no matter what it costs, be it her dignity, self-respect, or sense of right and wrong. She lands the job, determined to redefine herself, but finds the road to stardom is not quite as seen on TV. She's equally intimidated by a boss who eats careers for breakfast, played by the hilarious and amazing Jennifer Lewis, and infatuated with her idol, the unstoppable superstar host, played by SNL legend and my friend, Molly Shannon. Caught off guard, Joanna slightly blows it on live TV and then sells a whopper of a story to keep her job. That little white lie snowballs into a network-devouring avalanche, and she has to learn the difference between selling herself and selling out. Starring the hilariously awkward or awkwardly hilarious Emmy nominee and SNL veteran and my friend, Vanessa Bayer. I Love That For You is streaming now only on Showtime. You guys watch it. Framebridge for Father's Day. Framebridge for Father's Day. Framebridge for Father's Day. I think we did it. I actually think we did it.
The best jingle you've ever
Ever done.
composed on the spot. But I'm so excited for Framebridge for Father's Day. It's really the perfect thing for your dad. And dads are hard to buy for, or for the dad in your life.
Well, I love Framebridge for Father's Day. Dads are impossible to shop for. I think that most of them are more sentimental than you think.
Yes, I think you're right. And so why Framebridge is perfect is because you can just take something that you know that he likes, or maybe even already has, and put it in a nice frame so that he can display it.
Yeah, I love it. Go to framebridge.com, you upload your photo, or they'll just send you packaging to safely mail in your physical pieces. You can preview your item in dozens of frame styles and gallery wall layouts even. And you can choose your favorite on your own, or you can get free recommendations from their designers. In New York City, because if you're in New York, DC, Atlanta, Philly, Boston, or Chicago, I have gone into the Framebridge store and
Amazing.
I've worked with a designer in person.
I'm so envious. But
And guess what? Used my code in person.
You can use the code in person or online to get 15% off your first order. And by the way, like, we're not just talking photographs or like canvases, or you can like a sports jersey. If your dad likes a sports jersey, if your dad has his dad's pipe that he smoked or whatever, they can frame that. They can literally frame almost anything.
They can. They put like in a little shadow box. They can put it in like a little shadow box.
So anything, just go into wherever your dad, his workshop or his office or wherever, or your husband or whoever, your partner, and just steal something that they have laying around that you know they love, and send it off to Framebridge, and they'll frame it up for you.
I actually think that's a genius idea, Caissie. Guys, we're into it. Get started today. Frame your photos. Send someone the perfect gift. Maybe your dad. Maybe your daddy. Maybe your kid's dad. Maybe yourself.
Yeah.
Go to framebridge.com and use promo code OURBEST. And you're going to get 15% off your first order when you use our special code. Just go to framebridge.com, promo code OURBEST. Framebridge.com, promo code OURBEST. How was your Mother's Day with your mom?
It was good. I mean, that's why, I hadn't seen my mom in like over 2 years. That's a weird situation. We'd certainly had Zooms and things like that over the time, but not so often, because that's kind of hard. And she's been super careful. Like, she's skipped a number of family things where she probably could have gone, just because, not everybody is vaccinated. Not everybody is like on the same page. And she's like, I don't want to have like 2 more family events, like go to one and then the next thing's my funeral, which I totally understand, because she's older and has health issues. So that's why. But it was really hard, because like by the time I like had been on several planes and like got here to her, like she was kind of like, I don't care. I don't, and I was like, I do. So like, I've been completely masked the whole time, everything I've done with my mom, except for like eating outside. We've been masked, and like, she really wanted to stay together. She wanted me to like stay in her place. And I was like, no, I'm going to stay in a hotel, because I just don't even want to be like, like you said, you guys were separated from your family and still somehow passed it along. So, and it's just like, it's not even like, it's just little things, like not thinking, like, you just accidentally left a door open or whatever, or you forgot to put a mask on, or somebody picked up something that you had gotten your germs on. I don't know. Obviously we don't know exactly how we're transmitting it. I mean, we do, but you can't think of like the moment that the germs went in your body, is what I'm saying, because if we
when I read that leaked letter.
Exactly. So I can't be, and so even though I was very sad to be like, no, Mom, I'm going to stay in a hotel. but that's just what I've done. So it's been like weird. It's weird to like hang out with your mom all weekend after 2 years of not seeing each other and like wear a mask the whole time in the car and like drive around fucking freezing cold Cape Cod with the windows down.
Ugh.
With masks on. But
window heater on, windows down, kind of my favorite vibe of all time.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
But it was nice. It was good to see her, and I'm glad that I came, even though I never want to go on so many airplanes again in my life.
I think it's too many airplanes to get to places like Cape Cod.
Yeah, that's why I drove from Providence, Rhode Island, because I'm like, I'd rather
P-Town. Isn't that what they call it?
Well,
I think that Mark's favorite restaurant in the world. Oh, Provincetown.
Cape Cod. Yes. Mark's favorite restaurant in the world is which one? The Lobster Pot on Provincetown?
No.
Oh. Is it a restaurant in Providence, Rhode Island?
I don't know.
All of these
I
places,
don't know.
all of New England is one place to you, maybe.
Yeah, obviously. You know that.
But we did
I don't understand states so close together. You know this.
Yeah, it's all too
I do not
small
understand
and,
the East Coast.
Things have arms and yeah, it's a lot. But we did go to Provincetown. Like my mom lives in Hyannis, which is at the beginning of Cape Cod, like the armpit of the arm. And then Provincetown is all the way down on the like fist at the end of the arm. And we did go there yesterday to look at some little foxes that were living in like a public works building, which I posted one on my Instagram. And then we tried to go
that one was so cute.
Wasn't it so cute? That's been the theme of the week is foxes for me, because there were foxes in Duluth, Minnesota, running around on the dunes of Lake Superior. Maybe you don't know this, but I have a giant fox tattooed on my arm because I love foxes so much.
Are you saying that to me?
No, to people listening. I know you know. I know you've seen it.
I do know that. I think I'm ready for another tattoo.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to think of what you want. So foxes everywhere. And then we tried to go, even though it was freezing cold, I tried to go to this ice cream place that I love, Lewis Brothers. And I was very insulted that it was closed, but also I understand that it's not really like Cape Cod season. And why would they be open on a Monday afternoon? But still. I was really salty about it for a minute, but it is what it is. It was a masked mom weekend. But I'm glad I finally got to see my mom, and I hope that I don't know. I hope that we figure shit out so that I can see my mom more, because like fucking time, man, right? It's not real. What is it? But it keeps going by.
Well, yeah. I had kind of a weird Mother's Day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because you were sick, or because?
I don't know. This has also COVID. It's made me very emotional.
Yeah.
I posted that on my stories, and so many people said yes. They've been, when they had COVID, or they currently, like a lot of people that I know reached out and were like, oh my God, I just got it. Oh my God, I have it right now. And have they all agreed that that it made them super emosh.
That makes sense, because I think I think it's so loaded, right? We have so much that we've been going through the past couple of years, but also it makes sense to me because in my days in the nursing home, anyone that had a stroke, any resident that had suffered from a stroke usually became much more emotional than they had been. So I'm wondering if it has to do with like the way that these things like act on our brains and like our abilities to regulate our emotions, and how people in the planes cry.
That's what I was going to say that. But I 100% of the time when I'm really sick, know that I'm really sick because I start crying.
Yeah.
And sometimes because I go so much, go.
Yeah.
That was how I knew the bacterial infection. Remember?
Right.
I told you.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden I just started like crying out of nowhere.
Right.
It's really and it has since I was little.
Yeah.
And then since even when I was in my phase that I never cried, because you guys know about that, right?
Yeah. Even then, as soon as an illness overtakes my bod, I start hysterically crying. Oh no.
I know. But Mother's Day was like hard and weird, and I ended it like sobbing alone in my bed.
Oh.
And I was trying to, like, the next day, Mark and I were talking about it, and he's like, well, what is it that you wanted?
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, but I didn't get it. And
right.
he was like, I got you flowers. Like, Cricket made you a card. Like, I ordered brunch for you, like, that I knew you would like. Like, and my friend was saying to me when I was texting with him, and I was like, I can't stop crying. Like, I can't stop crying. Oh no, see, now I'm going to cry again. And he was like, it makes sense. Like, you're mourning so much. And we all are,
Yeah.
And on Mother's Day, like, I guess I just acutely felt like, I don't have babies anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have kids that are little and need me in that way that only, like, a little kid needs their mom,
Right.
And I don't know why. Maybe because I had been so sick or whatever, and I don't even know. I was wanting, like, a thing that I've never had, that's never existed in our family.
Right.
Which was like them cuddling me on the sofa, like, all watching a movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some version, or like playing a board game together, like, all of us.
Right.
And I don't know. Like, I think I, like, write these stories in my head of what things should look like. And then when it's anything other than that, it's hard to see the greatness of what that is,
Right. Yeah.
And, like, how special some of the things are.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, Birdie making this TikTok about reproductive rights.
Right. I saw that.
The day before Mother's Day, and coming down to show me, like, so proud.
Right.
Sometimes, Birdie will go up into their room and they're just, like, making TikToks, and Birdie's so funny. Like 95% of them are just, like, drafts. Like,
right.
Like, the kid doesn't post them. You know what I mean? They just like do them. Like, they did the whole Lizzo dance. Well, like, never posted it, I was like, and then did it for me just live. And I was like, this is amazing. But, like, that kind of stuff, it's like, I don't see, like, those moments and those things with my kids. Sometimes I allow to, like, miss me for what it really is, which is like us having this is how we like have love with each other. It's not like some weird idea from a sitcom from the 80s,
right?
Which is, like, I guess, just programmed in my head, of, like, what a family looks like and what a mom is supposed to be.
Right. What you're supposed to do.
and what I'm supposed to do and how they were supposed to like treat me on Mother's Day. Like I was like, and by the way, the whole house is fucking sick, you know?
Right.
But I was like laying in bed, like waiting for the kids to like come in with like what? Like a Cheerios commercial? Like it's so fucking stupid. Bertie woke up at 12:30 p.m., came downstairs and we got into a fight about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Oh,
and
Lord.
then like, well, don't even get me started.
I can't. I'm not going to get you started on that. But I think that, and this is something that I felt a million times. Like this Mother's Day for me, it wasn't like my Mother's Day. And, you know, my kids texted me and my husband texted me and there were social media posts, which were so nice, but like I wasn't even checking for it. I just felt like it wasn't even my Mother's Day. It was like for my mother. I wasn't with my kids or whatever. And last night, we're just like making arrangements for me to come home and everybody's like, where do you want to go for Mother's Day? And I was like, no, nowhere. I want to go nowhere. I want to sit home and drink seltzer and just like stare at the wall. I don't want to go anywhere. So maybe next year, but all that's really nice. But I was going to say, I've been in this situation for like birthdays or Christmases that didn't go the way. Like we celebrate Christmas in my family, but there have been ones that are just kind of, you know, where it feels like you're not doing the thing that you imagined it would be like. And I think it's like, you're right. We are so programmed by things that we see to think that we want, you know, and like even when you were talking about earlier, like throwing legendary parties and like getting ideas from Martha Stewart and, you know, wanting your life to be like that magazine, to look like that magazine and to look like that blog. And now we have so many more examples of like how our life could look.
Yeah. And it gets really overwhelming.
It's a lot. It's overwhelming. There's so many things you're supposed to do. Like when I'm reading and they're like, you just need to meditate 5 minutes a day and you need to exercise 1 hour a day and you need to eat fresh foods, nutritious foods 3 times a day. And then you need to like,
oh my God. And you have to drink 78 ounces of water.
78
before
ounces
noon.
of water. And like, you should also read and you should also have a deep conversation with everyone in your family. And like, I'm like, what? The day is gone. Like me, just like the first 2 things on the list would take up my whole day, the first 3 things. And so I think it's a lot. And there's a lot of examples of like how we're supposed to be that really like they do look good. They do look good because they wrap up in a timely manner. That's what's like so great about TV shows is like they give you an example of like what your life could be and it all wraps up neatly in an hour or half an hour. And like in a magazine, you just turn the page and you're on to like the next beautiful example of what your life could be. But it's really difficult. And I think it's okay to mourn the things that you expected that didn't happen. I really do think it's okay. I think you have to. I think it's okay to like be sad and say like, yeah, that's never going to be what we are. And like you expect it, you know, it's like, people that there are girls that picture their wedding, their whole.
I did too. I had like this whole thing like torn out of a magazine from when I was like literally 15 years old.
Right.
And by the way, my wedding was like not far off.
So you didn't have to mourn that, but so many people like have this vision in their mind. And I think
no, but I have a lot to mourn after it, you know?
Right. As young women, like I don't know that I've ever heard a man talking about like, this is the wedding I always dreamed of my whole life. They're just not like, they're not programmed like that. You know what I mean? But I'm sure men mourn things that maybe they're just not talking about. So I think it's okay. And I think it's okay to be sad about like a Mother's Day that didn't look like a sitcom, but then, you know, look at you, like you were sad about it on the day and you were sick and you were emotional, but now you're like thinking back about all of the great things and, you know, and the things that, you probably didn't notice so much because they're so normal in your everyday life. And so they didn't stand out on Mother's Day, a day that felt like it should be special, should have something like special, some kind of ringing bells or some kind of like, you know, maybe people bring you brunch in bed, but, you know, it's just these things like they fuck you up. They fuck you up. All of these programs that we're supposed to follow.
And I wonder, like, so I'm reading Jenny Mullen's book, City of Likes.
Yeah.
Which, guys, comes out. I told her she has to come on the podcast to talk about it because, you know, she has, I don't actually know the full story. I mean, I know what she's told me so far, which sounds insane. But, like, the journey of getting this book published seems bonkers.
Oh,
which
I want to hear
also
about
for somebody
it from her.
who has 2 New York Times best-selling books
Seems wild.
seems wild. Like,
Well-
but it seems like it's been a whole thing.
Yeah, I
But-
want to talk to her about it.
You know, I'm obsessed with this book. I was texting with her. I was talking to Caissie about it before we started the podcast. But it's her first novel, and it's about a woman who is a writer.
Yeah.
And like an unemployed writer and new to New York, and like sort of falls in with the influencer crowd, like the mom influencer crowd, and starts like living that life. And, you know, I'll be totally honest, because why would I be anything but, and I mean, Jenny and I say all these things to each other's faces, most of them. But like, I was like nervous that I would feel offended or hurt by something in the book. Attacked by something in the book, just because, I don't know, like it's hard. I've felt judgment like for my online persona from people in the past. And, you know, it's just, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But not only is there like, it's not, I'm like so obsessed with the book. Like there's no, even if there's like, she's taking, it's everybody. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing. That was my point. Was that like, it's not attacking me because it's literally all of us.
Right.
Like who have, and not just I'm not even influencers. It's everyone.
Right.
Who's like in, especially this past almost not quite decade yet, but like, you know, 6-ish, 7 years, like really started to have, you know, show their lives online all the time.
Right.
And like what that kind of does to your brain.
Right.
And how you even look at situations in your own life that you're in. And, you know, it's like if things like match up to the pictures, or, you know, we're all kind of constantly judging ourselves and everyone else, right?
Yes. Yes.
And judging ourselves against everyone else, and then passing judgment about whether or not we even think it's real, like the other people's depiction is real.
It's so interesting, right? Because no matter what you do online, in a way, it is a form of judgment. Because like so many people are like everybody's almost not everybody, but so many people are almost influencer ready. You can see that people know how to pose in photos now, like we've talked about on the podcast, like a thing that we never knew. Take out some Polaroids from the 1980s, the 1990s, just snapshots before digital cameras. Regular people who weren't on red carpets didn't know how to pose for pictures online. Now it's like a thing. Like people know about ring lights, and they know about contouring, and they know how to like aim the camera to be in their best light, and they know how to pose and like take a good picture. And that's like, thanks to influencer culture, I think like it's and also like looking at celebrity culture. But it's so funny because people do that and they're like either influencers or they're like, you know, aspiring to be influencers. But then there's other people who are like, hey, I'm not going to do all that. This is like a makeup free selfie to show you what I really look like and to show you like the background of my house is messy. And that's like a judgment on people that do the opposite, right?
Correct.
And then there are people that are like, sorry, I haven't been online. It's just I wanted to like spend my life like really living it and not posting here all the time. And then that's a judgment on like everyone else, you know? And then it goes back around into the circle of like the person that hit their light, hit their pose, had their partner or whoever take a really decent picture of them. And that's a judgment on everyone else being like, you know what? I get it. You're all busy, but I have the time to like look good and like create this aesthetic that people can enjoy in their photos. So, you know, so it's just like this circle of like, even if you don't intend to judge anyone, it's just a circle of judging everyone.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. And I like, just in thinking about Mother's Day, like I found it very difficult to post anything for Mother's Day.
Sure.
Like I couldn't, first of all, obviously because of what's happening in this country and like just the like reality of what forced birth and forced motherhood is.
Right.
And because it is already existing in this country, but that it is going to like exponentially get so much more intense and horrific.
Right.
It's not to say that people won't still get abortions, guys. We know they will.
Right.
I'm
Especially
just saying,
very privileged and wealthy people, it's never going to be an issue for them.
no, that's why I posted that. I posted so much abortion shit yesterday. I mean,
I know. It was good though. Everything you posted.
it was on The View, quoting Liz Winstead.
I know. That was great.
Well, it's just like the other side has like tricked us into qualifying experiences.
Right.
Rape and incest.
Right.
Mother's life
Which
in
are-
danger. Fuck off.
Which are bad,
Sure.
but also like it shouldn't. You
It's
shouldn't.
valid, but like everything's valid. Any reason
Everything's
why
valid.
a woman needs to get an abortion, wants to get an abortion.
Well, that's the thing. Like, what if you don't want to report that you were a victim of rape or incest? Like, that is this a free country? Are you allowed to like have that be private if you want it? That wouldn't be my choice, I don't think, but I don't know. You know, so I don't. Like, why do you have to qualify everything again? Because it just should be nobody's business why you're doing this and what the reason is. There's a reason. Just trust that there's a reason. It's fucking so stupid.
And then like literally I had seen that morning of Mother's Day, I had seen that piece of the document that had been sort of overlooked initially, the domestic supply of babies.
That was fucking chilling. That's like
It's
a
chilling.
science fiction novel.
Chilling to the
Amy
bone.
Coney Barrett. Is that her name? Amy Coney Barrett says that
I just call her fuckface. Is that
we need a
does that work?
domestic supply of infants so that people who want to adopt can adopt. Like talking about it like fucking cheese. Like cheese or imported olives or whatever. A domestic supply of corn. Like a domestic supply of infants.
It's psychotic.
That's
I want to know what the fuck is
psychotic.
wrong with that lady. I want to go back. I want to go back in time.
Yeah.
I really want, I mean, I'm going to just say something. A, she's kind of an idiot. So there's that.
Yeah. There's
Sometimes
that.
people are stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What would
And
be?
like, she can't even say like, but I'm street smart. Like, no, you're just dumb. You're just fucking stupid. You know how to read a book and take a test. Good for you. You're a
Right.
fucking idiot.
Right.
I don't remember what B was.
I
I hate
just
her.
feel like her brains are poisoned. Like, that's literally what a supervillain, again, we're saying again, literally what a supervillain's plan in a movie would be, to create a domestic supply of infants. What
I
the
mean, it
actual
is,
fuck?
you know, abortion activists, and I'm in all those circles, those calls, I get the fucking emails and the language to use and the language to avoid. And I know they really don't want the Margaret Atwood Handmaid's Tale shit. They don't like it. I don't know what the reasoning is. Something. They have some reasoning for it. But like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Under his eye.
Right.
Domestic supply of fucking infants.
It's
crazy.
insane. And yeah, and Margaret Atwood wrote that book for a reason, for a prescient reason. Like, she saw a potential future, and, you know,
Here it is.
Here we are in not exactly the same. I guess, what is the reason that they don't want you to make that comparison? Just that people like think that it's too fantastical and fictional, and they want us to talk about like real terms and what's really happening, or I don't know.
That like, yeah, I think that that's all a piece of it. Like it's not a book or a TV show. It is real life, and these are real people whose lives are being affected. And I mean, in many instances, like, you know, lives are being lost.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's difficult for me as like from a storytelling perspective, because I think that sometimes people can only understand things that they've seen
with
their own eyes. And so like, if that connects with somebody and makes them want to fight against it, then I don't see an issue in it.
Right. But that's the reason a lot of art exists, is to, you know, to put a visual to something that someone sees as a potential consequence of the way the world is.
But I also understand the argument that like maybe it devalues the real experiences of real, or it could feel like it devalues the real experiences of the real women in these states and counties who are facing the unimaginable.
Yeah, I get that. I get that too. I get that it pushes my buttons a little when I see the memes. Like, I get it that, you know, I get it that it really does. It's starting to look a lot like The Handmaid's Tale, but I really hate like that meme where all the handmaids are sitting around in their red gowns and they're just like, but I didn't like Hillary or whatever, like, because it just reduces it to like a joke. And the person that made the meme or sent the meme really feels like they did something, like really feels like they said something. And it's like, we just become numb to like what's being said. And we're like, LOL, it's a joke. Like, a meme is a joke, you know? So I get it. I get it.
Yeah. And I also like, with another guy friend of mine, like had a conversation where he was like, I said something, and then I was like, I don't know, but also like the world is on fire, so it's hard for me right now, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, right, but to be fair, like the world has always been on fire in one way or another. And I was like, yeah, see, I don't think you really understand what this is doing to me.
Right.
Like, I actually don't think there's any way you could.
Right. Which then gives us perspective on all the times when we didn't see something, when the world was on fire for someone and we didn't see it.
Yeah.
And we never could understand it.
But that was like, I mean, yes. And for me, that's always been the part where I don't understand how people don't get that.
Right.
Piece.
Yeah. When people are like, everything will be okay. And I'm like, oh, Lord, you've been saying that for 10 years. Or when people say like, it's the last dying gasp of old white men.
I cannot.
And I'm like,
I can't.
No, they're making more. They make more.
Turns
they make
out.
new.
Turns out, let me tell you about some in fucking Birdie's class. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like they're not all Eli's and Lincolns, guys. And I just want to say this to the moms at home of young boys. It's on you. It's fucking on you. It is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's because we can't even count
no one else
on,
will do it. Yeah.
No one else will do it. We can't count on the good guys that you're married to. I'm sure they're fine. They're as woke as they can be, or maybe they're not. But the fact is, it's literally on you to like. Birdie doesn't go up to their room and make that TikTok without lots of fucking conversations in the last almost 14 years about the world and our lives and justice and conversations, not lecturing, asking, what is it that you think? That was why the Amber Heard Johnny Depp fight was such a bummer. But maybe Birdie'll start to think critically. Well, my point to Birdie was just that, like, you got to stop, like, sort of glomming on to, like, what is being fed to you and be a little bit more critical.
Right.
Because, number one, who fucking cares? I mean, sorry. It seems like a personal tragedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot.
But
yeah, it's a mess.
But in the scope of what is important to focus on, you know, having like a woman's name trending for like 3 weeks with like villain attached to it is probably not where we need to be in this moment in time.
Right. It's not what we should be focusing on.
It's not what we should be focusing on.
Right.
And I like actually have no fucking patience or time for it.
Right. Yeah, that's been rough.
It's rough. It's fucking rough. And if you're like listening right now and you're like, Johnny Depp innocent, you need to take a fucking beat and reevaluate your fucking priorities. I'm sorry. You do.
I think like everybody that's like super following it just sees that like all around it's been like it has been just a toxic time between the two of them. But I just feel like it's very, very toxic. And yeah. And it's so weird because
it's a personal tragedy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a personal tragedy. And everyone that's like, she ruined his career. Guys, you think film fucking studios give a shit about shitty men? I'm sorry. In what fucking world?
Right.
No, they don't give a fuck that some B-level actress, like, what they care about is said some things. What they care about is their bottom line. And if he wasn't making them fucking money and he was costing them money, bye. Any excuse, bye.
Right. And by the way,
don't have to ask them twice.
You're not saying that you're on team Amber Heard.
I'm not.
Either.
I'm totally not saying that.
It's just, yes, I just want to be clear because I know sometimes people listen to the first few words of something and then get real riled up. But yeah, we're just saying. And I have followed like celebrity trials in the past, but you know, this one has really hit home for me, just like, this is not, it's just toxic all around. And it's sad. And it's a little sad, like how interested people are in it and like treating it like a sporting event a little bit.
Well, they're treating it like what it is, which is a distraction from reality.
Right.
And the reality right now is so fucking devastating for so many real fucking people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that he lost his goddamn island. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, let's just keep it in focus. And this is what I'm saying. If you are a person who cannot keep the real shit in focus, then you need to take a step back and do some fucking digging.
Right.
What is it that is preventing you?
Right.
Sorry, I'm really This is my fight with Birdie. Just revisit it.
I know what the answer is, though. I actually have the answer.
Tell me.
Discomfort. It's discomfort. Yes. There's nothing sensational about paying attention to something sensational is it's alluring because it distracts you from things in your life that are actually uncomfortable. And it's very tempting because, you know, you can look at these people that are supposed to be rich and beautiful and have no problems, and they have been nothing but problems for each other. And it's toxic, you know, but they're still celebrities, and someone lost an island, someone lost a finger, careers are being lost.
I think it was the same person that lost the island and the finger.
And
Just
like,
FYI.
and you know, and there's all kinds of scandalous, like who they hung out with and who they socialized with and who turned a blind eye. And like, you know, and so I think those are things that it's very, very tempting to be drawn in by them. But there's nothing sensational about this abortion fight and all of these bans, because they're just regular people like all of us who
but also
are,
like the anti-trans legislation. I'm just like what is happening in this country, state by state, sweeping this country is nothing short of tyranny.
Right.
Period.
Right.
But and also Caissie, you know, fucking bitch contains multitudes. I am like a person who's like, let's care about bath bombs and abortion rights, whatever. Put them on a fucking t-shirt. I get it. I get the need for escape. I've been continuing to watch, what's that show called that I liked? Severance. I made it through one more episode.
Wow.
You'd be proud to know. I'm almost done with this book. I'm
You're doing
you know,
great.
like I'm saying, like I get it. There is space to I know enough about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial to know that there was a finger lost in an island and some of the crazy shit, whatever. But when it becomes the when it becomes the main character on the internet,
Right.
again and again and again and again and again, day after day after day after day, and people are like spending inordinate amounts of time on it, that's when I'm like, we need to collectively take a step.
Yeah.
Sit with some discomfort of this time that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And like really start to critically think about how we're allowing ourselves to be distracted.
Yes. Well, I can say this. I have not spent a great deal of time on the internet recently just because I have been more busy than I've been in a long time. But when I have been on the internet, I've really been giving that mute button a workout. And one thing that I want to say, which it's hard to say without sounding judgy, and I don't mean it to be judgy, but I will say this. I've been seeing a lot of people doing a form of like, well, it's basically a form of online activism in favor of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and or, you know, like taking a side and like basically cheering that team on. It equates to online activism. And I just want to like point out that it won't change anything. Even if it could change anything, it would only change something for that one person who you're cheering on. But the truth is, like, the cards are already in play, and also like it's not going to change anything. You supporting one or the other of those people online, it's not going to change anything. And so and I'm not even saying like you should stop doing it or whatever. I mean, like, you should do whatever makes you happy or whatever feels good. I struggle to believe that makes anyone happy or makes anyone feel good, but maybe it makes them feel something that they need to feel. But I just like, it's weird. It's been a weird thing of me. Like, I just feel like I'm watching people playing a game that's already been played, that's already over, you know? And I'm just like, it's just such a fucking weird thing with everything that's going on. It's just Johnny Depp and Amber Heard has been weird. It's been weird. And it really, I think, is the thing that made me realize, like, it highlighted to me that like maybe I shouldn't have followed some celebrity tragedies so closely in the past, but
So I'm glad to have that perspective now, but it's really like just been a fucking weird time.
New mood. Talk about taking a break. Maybe we just need new mood.
I think we should look into further new mood explorations.
Yeah. Listen, things are stressful. The mental health is having a moment where she's like, we don't know. Jury's out is what mental health is saying.
Everybody can learn to manage their daily stress and anxious thoughts better. And that's where new mood comes in. Because a lot of us don't know where to begin. And new mood is here to say, we're here. We can help you begin.
They're here to guide you to mental wellness and give you tools that you will use to tackle stress. So you will feel empowered to handle whatever it is that life is throwing at you. And it seems to be something new every day. They have a team of dedicated coaches, so you'll have a support system helping you on your journey. And their guided approach teaches you the power of shifting your mindset in just a few minutes a day. That's what new mood is all about.
I've been really happy using New Mood just because it's super convenient and I really feel myself just feeling less stressed. Like last week with the situation where I rented 16 cars, that really didn't stress me out the way that it normally would have. I've been sleeping better. I've just been feeling happier for more moments of happiness throughout my day. And that's important.
And it's super convenient. It's only 10 minutes a day. It's an app. You can do it whenever, wherever, in your car, waiting for pickup. If you have, like in the bathroom. Guys,
when you're hiding in the bathroom.
When you're hiding in the bathroom. You're stronger than your stress, you guys. It doesn't get to control you. And you should equip yourself with the knowledge and steer yourself to happiness. One size doesn't fit all, and you can navigate the program at your own pace, and you will have the support of a coach along the way. So with New Mood, taking care of your mental wellness is empowering. 10 minutes a day. It's an app. You can do it. Worry less and feel happier. Sign up for your trial at noom.com/best. That's Noom, NOOM.com/best. Like what you're going to be feeling after doing New Mood. Truebill, this is what's coming handy for me. Truebill.
You've been talking about your credit card statement
a lot today.
And
Do you know what I was paying for?
What were you paying for?
Apps that my children had purchased.
Oh, shoot.
That no one uses.
Right.
Or not downloaded anywhere. But at some point, they hit a button.
Right.
Whilst playing on my phone, probably while I was trying to have a margarita and a chip and salsa.
Ye old in-app purchases.
And there were many.
Well, thank you, Truebill, for flagging those for busy.
On average, people save like $720 a year with Truebill because honestly, companies make subscriptions hard to cancel. They're counting on the fact that you're going to forget that your kids learned how to read. I'm kidding. But it's just very simple with Truebill. You link your accounts. Truebill cancels your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. Truebill has over 2 million users and has helped save people over $100 million. That's a lot of
That's a
money. Like Matthew B., who says, in a matter of seconds, I saved $660 for the year on my DirecTV bill and $120 for the year on my Sirius bill. Saved $840 a year on car insurance. Wow. Matthew B.,
Good job.
you're really doing it. Listen, I am telling you, you got to get this. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/best. Go right now, truebill.com/best. It could save you hundreds a year. Truebill.com/best. So interesting. Last night, Birdie was asking me about something. I don't remember what, but I do know that Birdie was like, said something about Nirvana and then was like, I mean, that was Dave's band. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Because, you know, Birdie's friends with one of Dave's kids.
Right.
Like they've been friends since kinder. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it was Dave's band, but also like it was
in
Kurt
a way.
Cobain. Yeah, I mean, it was Kurt Cobain's band. Like Foo Fighters is really his band, you know?
Yeah.
And Birdie's like, oh, right, Kurt Cobain. Yeah. So he died. He killed himself. Like he died young, right? And I was like, yeah, I think he was 28. I think that was like the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like him and Jimi Hendrix and right?
I think so.
Heath. Yeah, like 28 is like this weird age.
Yeah.
And Birdie's like, but you know, like with drug overdoses, I always feel like you just don't know if somebody meant it or not. And I was like, oh, no, he shot himself. Like he killed himself. Oh, I know why we were talking about it. Birdie's obsessed with Phoebe Bridgers now.
Okay. Yeah.
And she's got a song about Elliott Smith, who, you know, Mark is like Mark's favorite singer. And we were talking about Elliott Smith. Anyway. And then somehow Nirvana came up. And Birdie was like, Jesus, why'd they release that? And I was like, what? And Birdie's like, they shouldn't release stuff like that. And I was like, well, you just, like, I'm confused. But you just said, I thought you wanted to know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I thought you wanted to know. And then Birdie was like, I don't know. People should just, like, have a choice. You shouldn't, like, have to know how people died.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me because everybody wants to know how people die.
Right.
They get really, like, fixated on it.
Yes.
Why did I bring this up?
I don't know. Well, it's kind of like all, you know, it's what we're talking about. Like, yeah, being fixated on knowing things that we maybe don't have to know. But then we're all familiar with the wording of like these, like the poor family has to announce something and ask for privacy at this time. And you always know that it's coming. Like someone's going to give the reason. And it's such a weird place that we're in culture. And then I always hate when people, like when someone dies and it's unexpected and people post all over online, holy shit. Like that breaks my heart every time. It takes a little chunk of my heart because people just have this like expression of surprise. Holy shit. Like that you also say like when someone has like an awesome new truck or something, holy shit.
Guys, if I die, please
don't say
for
holy
Caissie's
shit.
sake, don't
Please
say holy
don't.
shit.
Yeah.
But if Caissie dies, we all are posting holy shit. Okay?
It's like
serious.
one last joke on me.
I'm serious.
Because you know.
Would you like that or not like it? I feel like you would like it.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't care. I'd be beyond it at this.
No, you would. I mean, I would only do it if you could care. Like I would only do the bit if I thought like Ghost you would get a kick out of it. I've really wondered often if ghosts like have a sense of humor,
whether they get a kick out of things. I mean, I've heard things that would lead me to believe that ghosts might have a little bit of sense of humor, but I don't know. Or maybe I'd just be like, oh, puny humans, you're so silly. Trying to do
you've
a
like
joke
moved
on me.
on.
Yeah. That's what I'm always like, when people get really, like Prince fans get really riled up about what he would want and what he said in life and what, just what he would want for everything, his music, his clothes, his belongings, his home, his money, everything. And I'm like, he's beyond that now.
Well, guys, we made it 1 hour and 54 seconds before a Prince mention, and I feel like that's a win.
I mean, girl, I was in Minnesota last week, and I don't think I mentioned him at all to you.
You didn't.
I didn't mention him to you. But on that retreat, everybody got like a special Prince moment from me because like he can just be related to everything. So somebody was like, my favorite singer is Sheryl Crow. And I was like, oh, here's a video of Prince singing Every Day is a Winding Road with Sheryl Crow. And then
it's weird that you didn't bring up that Sheryl Crow was on Cougar Town, but whatever.
Well,
it's fine.
It was in Minnesota. So, you have to. Somebody was like, when I was growing up, I really loved Kenny Rogers. And I was like, oh, here's a song that Prince wrote for Kenny Rogers. And you can hear a demo of it. And he really sounds like he's doing like a Kenny Rogers type impression. Like he knew it was going to Kenny. And so everyone just got a Prince moment. Someone's favorite show was The New Girl. And I was like, here you go. Here's Prince.
Well,
on
that's
The New
the
Girl.
best. I mean, that was such a great story too.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. And more stories came out about it. But that's so you have all of those women to thank for you not hearing about Prince last week while I was actually in his home state. But you knew it was only a matter of time before I brought him up.
I want to just circle back real fast to where we started 2 hours ago.
Okay.
To the Brene Brown of it and taking a break. And that's nice if you can afford it and blah, 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 And I felt like last week, I felt really bad that you were on this retreat and you had to do the podcast twice.
Well, that was just bad luck.
I know, but also I could have been like, we don't have to do it again. But like, I felt really strongly that we did need to do it again. And
yeah, by the way, like, that I also felt that way too.
I know you did.
If you had said, I think we have to do another one, and I really didn't think so, of course I would have said, like, I really don't think so. And, I would have stood up for that but it wasn't even a question. Like, it would have been extremely out of character for us to not only
just let that one sit.
Let it slide. I mean, that was just, and I blame Justice Alito for, but also it was fine. It was fine.
No, I know, but like I want us all to have the space and time to do to find the space between the stimulus and the response or whatever. Like I want that for myself, I want that for you for sure. And I realized, like, reading that Brene Brown thing too, that the last time I really had that space was, before I had the idea and like decided to do Busy Tonight.
Yeah.
And it was a choice. It was a choice. I made a choice, to not work on acting jobs, like to not be sort of preoccupied by that and to just kind of chill the fuck out.
Right.
And see what came to me.
Yeah.
And I've been feeling like recently, I know you and I have talked about it a little bit off podcast, like I've been feeling really like I don't know what to do or where to go, like what to focus on or what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like I love, we guys, come on. And did everybody watch the first 3 episodes of Girls 5 Eva? Come on.
Yes. Everyone was talking about it on the Facebook group.
Well, my mom was mad that there were only 3 available. Because she took her computer to the hospital while my dad had his surgery and was bummed because she made it through those. She needed more. And also then I was like, probably could have gotten her a link. Maybe. I should have thought about that. My dad's doing good after his hip surgery. My mother's getting ready for hers.
Yeah. They're going through with it. They're doing it. She did text me not to worry about her after we talked about it on the podcast. And she was like, don't worry, I'll be fine.
No, I know she's going to be fine.
I know.
I just like the idea of these 2 people with bionic hips.
Listen, I share your concern, but Mrs. Phillips texted me not to worry about it. She will be fine.
They got a home health aid.
Oh, good. Okay.
So,
All right.
Yeah, their insurance. Their insurance got it. It's going to be fine.
Good.
Thank God.
Great. Yeah. I get what you're saying about all of this, about like taking time and whatever. It's like, honestly, real talk, like between you and I, like you and me, you and I isn't even a thing. That's not even proper English.
Just us chickens?
Just us chickens. It's really like a matter of planning. Like there was last week, that had been my plan. And if I had said to you, I don't want to record it all on this retreat, let's do an extra episode before we go or whatever, we would have done that. We would have found time to do that. And then we would have probably still wanted to record an episode. And I would have been like up Schitt's Creek because I wouldn't have had any equipment with me, whatever. So we would have had to figure out a million things. But I was just like, it's no problem to record one. And then the second one was just like, it just happens. Like shit happens sometimes and you have to. Because also like, yes, we make this podcast independently, but people work on it with us. And like, that's their, they get paid for what they do. And so that's their money for the week. And like, you can't just like, we can be bad with our own money, but we can't just tell someone, by the way, you're not getting the money that you were counting on this week because we just decided like that we can't or whatever. But when there's been an emergency, we have done that and then we make it up later. Even though the podcast is independent, we do have obligations to meet. And I think we do a good job of that. We do the best we can and we're not always perfect in it. So there's all that. But like if we really wanted to take a break, then we just have to plan it, and we just have to. But sometimes it's hard to think ahead because the podcast like is easy, compared to like a lot of things we do. So I think it's like, it can be like a little bit of an afterthought planning for it. And so, because we just figure, we'll just get on. And so many times like we've tried to like plan the podcast or whatever. And then we wind up like getting on the phone anyway. And we're like, oh shit, we should have just recorded this. We could have done the podcast anyway. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I do have to get better at planning and I am waiting for like, my planning to grow in. It seems like it should have arrived by now, but I'm not always the best at like planning something that seems casual, but also like that I should take seriously,
My family therapy classes or parenting classes.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get like a calendar. and write stuff down for everybody to see.
Yeah.
But then we all got COVID, so I didn't do it yet.
Well, you'll get the calendar and it'll be...
Caissie, I've had calendars before. You know what I mean?
I remember
I've had a lot of calendars.
When we started at Busy Tonight, it was like literally your first office job, really. You'd never really like, obviously it's a TV show, so it's not, but we had an office that we started out in, and you were so excited to have an office, and you bought like tons of supplies, and you bought like this big calendar, and it was so cute.
I don't know where the fuck it is. I was just looking for it through all our shit because I'm like, it's got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't, because I'm like, do I have to buy? I don't want to buy another one.
Right. I don't know.
I remember years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
When Kate Walsh was like on Grey's Anatomy, maybe had just started private practice.
Yeah.
And like I had known, Kate is like one of those actors in LA that like I had met over the years, like a ton.
Yeah.
Like it's like kind of like Kate and Connie Britton and Lauren and Lauren Graham.
Yeah.
And like those women were like just slightly older than me. And I really but like we all were sort of like in the same world and I really like idolized them.
Yeah.
You know? So Kate had this, I think it was like private practice vibes because it was a Christmas party and she had just bought like her house, like her house with her like big TV money, which I'd been to her other house it was nice.
Yeah.
But this one was like totally done by an interior designer. You know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. The works. And I remember going into her office and Birdie was a baby. Because I was carrying the baby child.
Yeah.
And going on the tour with Kate and she's showing me everything. And I remember like being blown away by her fucking closet and just like, cut to 6 years later, I built my own room closet. But in her office, or there was a desk, I guess. I don't know. Yes, I think it was her office. She had this like the whole size of the wall. It was plexiglass and sort of like drilled into the wall like with grommets. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was like sat a little bit away from the wall.
Yeah, so it looked artsy.
Yes. And then someone had used like vinyl or whatever and had made like a huge calendar, like
Genius.
a 2-month calendar on it. And I remember seeing that and thinking, well, if that's not the fucking height of everything, like the closet was like, we've all seen a great closet.
Yeah. But that calendar.
But that fucking giant wall-sized, right-on wipe-off, plexiglass calendar was aspirational for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like I even went to a craft store and was like, could I make this myself? And I did. I did not.
And you never got it on there. Well, I think like, here's the thing, especially in TV, like calendars are so important. Like you need to have this just ginormous calendar where everything that is coming down on you is there. It's there, And we talked a lot about this on the retreat too, about bulletin boards and how useful they can be when you're writing because you just write down on the little card and then you move the little card, the little part. And you don't have to keep writing it over and over again. I prefer a DIY calendar when it's important. I prefer a DIY calendar that is note cards on a bulletin board because then you can just move the weeks up and away instead of erasing the whole thing and writing it over again. Because I like to have...
Wait. Tell me again.
Okay.
What do you do?
So when you have like a calendar, like you're describing, like Kate Walsh's beautiful calendar, which sounds amazing, it's only for that month. And
Right.
I don't know what's coming up in the first week of the next month. And you just wait until the last day, you erase it all and you write down your new calendar. And then you're like, holy fucking shit, look at all this shit I have to do in the first week. So I prefer a DIY calendar that is a cork board with note cards where you write the thing and it goes over like 1, 2, or 3 months even, like if you have enough room, and you move everything up and you take away, you throw away the cards for the week that already happened and you move up the other cards. And so you still, it's basically the same as like the calendar on your laptop or in your phone. But there's something about writing it that like locks it in my brain. I have a visual of pinning it to the board. And every time I touch it to move it up, like it reminds me this is shit that has to happen. But it's been a while since I've had a calendar like that. And I could really probably benefit from one because it helps you plan. It helps you plan the future. Like, for example, if you wanted a break from this podcast, maybe we could do 2 evergreen bonus episodes. So we could take 2 weeks off, but we're not that organized yet, Okay. And we got responsibilities, but also like it's our thing. So we should be able to plan well enough to be flexible.
Okay. I'm gonna need a tutorial on making that calendar thing.
Yes.
Is there a way to make it look cute?
I mean, as cute as cork boards, or it doesn't have to be cork boards. It could be magnets if you wanted magnets. But the key is cards that you move, because erasing and writing down, it doesn't work, because I've seen TV executives try to do the erasing thing. How many times do people erase something and they forgot what it was and it never gets transported to the new square? Whereas if you just unpin a card, the card is in your hand. You would have to go to great lengths to lose it. So,
I mean, I
yes.
could definitely lose it, just FYI.
You could. And the key is also a different card for every event, so that if you move the day or whatever, because sometimes people try to write the whole day on one little card to save cards, and that's no good either, because if something changes, you have to scratch it off a card and then you have to put it on another card. That's when it starts to look like chaotic shit. You just need enough space to have a card for every event in the day. But it's hard. I remember those family calendars, man. Those like shared family calendars. And my husband's online work calendar of when his shifts are and when people need to be picked. It's chaos.
I still need a visual.
I will try to look.
I still truly do not understand.
Okay. I'll try to look, and if I can't,
I'll try to index cards?
Yeah, index cards.
But each family member has one?
Well, it depends on how you want to set it up. It's however you want, like it could be, you could be like pink, Bird could be yellow, Cricket could be green, Mark could be purple. But then you're talking about like, you'd need a really big space because every event has to go on its own card. So that like if you move something from a Monday to a Thursday, you don't just scratch it off the Monday card and write it on the Thursday card. You just move the whole event from the Monday square to the Thursday square.
But the time might change.
The time might change, but that's okay because you don't have to write the time on it. Then you could go even bigger.
Wait, why aren't you writing the time on it? How do you know the time?
I mean, you can write that because some things are just like, you have to do this day. You know what I mean? Like,
my brain hurts.
For example,
this is too much. Yeah.
I know. Well, you could put the times in your phone. You could put alarms in your phone and just have them on your like big visual calendar. Like mom's going to the doctor today, plan for it or whatever. Like everybody might not need to know the time of everything. It's all depends on how you want to organize it. But the bigger you go, the more information you can put. But I like to try to keep it simple too, because like if you give everybody too much information, then it just becomes like white noise and everybody's ignoring the information and they get exhausted with the system and they don't keep it up. And then someone misses something and they blame you because it will be your fault because it's your calendar.
Everything's always my fault.
It'll be your job to maintain that calendar. So it has to be like whatever is, the best calendar is the one that you can maintain with as little friction as possible and not get blamed by your family when something goes wrong because they will blame you.
Okay.
That's just real talk. But I will, if I can't find a video tutorial or whatever, I'll make one for you in case you're interested, just for fun.
This feels like salad bar all over again.
It might be, but I'm telling you, I've never forgotten to tape a TV show that I was supposed to.
Who's taping TV shows still?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the system that you use for a TV show. And it works so well at not letting things slip through the cracks that you can bet a multi-million-dollar television show on it.
Okay.
So I've never been like, oh, holy shit, I was supposed to have like Dame Judi Dench on a TV show today. And it slipped my mind because no, it was on the calendar.
Okay.
But do you ever think that you're going to become like a real calendar bitch?
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope that for myself.
Yeah.
I really do.
Like, are you going to start like clicking on emails and adding them to your phone calendar? Or is that too much? Do you do that?
I do that. Yes.
See, that's good. That's
and
good.
new assistant Blake, who also got COVID from me. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Sorry,
Blake.
Welcome.
What a welcome gift.
Welcome. But he was so sweet about it. Like, it actually,
of course.
I was actually fucking horrified. Like, can you imagine?
Yes. But I'm just saying he seems to be a very sweet person. So
he was
even
so
if he
sweet
was
about
seething inside.
He wasn't I don't think he was seething inside.
No, I don't think so either. But even
I
if
wonder
he
if
was.
he'll start listening to the podcast.
Oh, I don't know.
Interesting.
We'll see. Remains to be seen.
It does remain to be seen. Well,
Blake schedules things for you, calendars
he's
things for you.
He's starting to put things in the cal for me.
Yeah. And then
But
do you get
I've
alerts?
also
like you have to be at this place in an hour?
Well, yeah. You know, the one thing that Ray did before he left that has just been the best
What?
was the sunset alert.
Oh, I'm glad you have the sunset alert. Isn't it so good?
It's fantastic.
It's a real... that's the thing that I've accomplished that I've been the most impressed with in my life, like figuring out how to put the sunset alarm. Because it takes a little bit of like programming. Not really, but you have to, it takes a little bit. It took a little bit of effort.
Oh, somebody asked me how to do that. And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. You'll have to look it up online.
It takes a little bit of effort.
All right, oh!
What? You stopped recording?
Yes.
Your batteries died?
No. Worse.
What?
I don't know. This file, I guess, is full.
Your card died?
I was literally about to say this has been 7 hours, this podcast. We should stop, but I guess my fucking computer decided for me. Damn it.
See, this is why we do need to plan a break at some point because we're just doing our own engineering. We've got cards filling up.
Motherfucker.
Every week it's something.
When do you think I can work out again?
Right after this, right after you.
Really?
Do you feel good enough?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't know.
What, do like a half workout.
I don't know what that is, Mom. Mom?
Just
I just called you Mom.
Well, wow. Dr. Freud. Just do it for half the time. Just do a workout for half the time.
I feel like we got to switch this podcast up. I'm serious.
Every week.
I feel like it's like, I don't know. Is it growing?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah. I'll tell you all the numbers sometime. I always feel like when I send you like numbers
I
of
don't know
stuff,
what it means.
you're just like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I'll talk to you about them, but yeah.
Because, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I'll send you like the boiled down numbers as much as I can. You know, I'm like a real
Just
numbers
explain to me what it means.
person. Yeah, what
Oh.
it means.
My God. But back to this. And then we'll be done.
Okay. Well, we didn't do the
What?
one thing that we're supposed to do in this podcast.
I obviously, as anyone knows what I'm doing my best at this week. I don't need to say it. Do I need to say it? I stayed alive, guys.
Yeah,
I
you stayed alive.
alive.
Yeah.
I stayed alive and I still managed to talk a lot about abortion to a lot of different people and places and platforms. And
You did it. But anyway, what were you about to say? You forgot.
I didn't, but I decided I don't want to say it. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
What are you doing your best at?
Well, I think it ties into what we were talking about, a lot of like the privilege of being able to step away from things and how you can do that, and about making time and planning for things. And so, it was interesting to me to be on this writing retreat with these women, and some of the women had paid the full price to be there. And I was paid a small amount of money to be there. It's not something that I would, it wasn't a lot of money for what I get paid to do things, but I also thought that like I'm getting something out of it. Like I'm going and like I need a retreat as well too to accomplish some things. Some women had gotten scholarships and weren't paying a lot of money. So that was good that was offered for women that needed it. And it just happened that it was all women. I think it was fortuitous because it was like the pilot retreat of this program. It was a collaboration between Catalyst Content Festival, which I've been involved with for years, and this company Blue Fractal in Minnesota. And they really just took good care of us. But one thing that I heard everyone saying is if they weren't sure that they were going to come until the last minute, they decided at the last minute that they were actually going to come. And even women that maybe weren't paying money. So you couldn't say like, I'm not sure I deserve this, and I'm not sure I deserve to take this money and spend this on doing this something for myself to like work on my writing. Even women who were like, the fee is waived because, you meet certain criteria or whatever. Even those women were also like talking about it in terms of like they weren't sure that they deserved taking time away from anything else to focus on, and so everybody kind of had like the same thing. Like it was all like it worked out really well, and it was like almost like a perfect little recipe of women just hanging out and working together and supporting each other and giving tips and things like that and telling stories and laughing and building this bond over the course of a week. But it's so strange that it almost didn't happen because almost every person at some point was like, I almost pulled all the way out of coming to this because like,
This is the theme this week.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This horn. I mean, seriously, sir, like why?
New York City, come on.
Fuck off. this is the theme this week. And I want to say, like, this is a really good point that you're bringing up about, like, people who had applied for scholarships, people who, and yet, like, it's not imposter syndrome. It's that we have been so conditioned now to think that we can't possibly step away.
Right.
That either everything's going to fall apart or everything's going to go away or it's selfish. And I don't know, when I saw that Brene Brown thing this morning, I thought of you. I thought of myself, obvi. We haven't gotten there yet on Girls Five Eva, but my favorite song is When I Cry at a Movie, I'm only crying for myself. Only sad that lady's dying, 'cause I'm thinking about myself. The second part was the harmony. That's the part I do. I don't know the actual melody for that part. But anyway, I thought about us, and I thought about space needed to be your best, most creative self. You have to close those curtains. I cannot see your face.
I know, but I just...
Can't you just pull that curtain closed?
I'll pull the curtain closed. There. Is that better?
Yeah, literally. It's better. If you pulled the other one closed, it would be 100% better, but that's fine. I know that's asking too much in this moment. But we, especially women, we are conditioned to think that making space for ourselves or time for ourselves, you don't even have to be working on like a novel or a screenplay or some creative thing.
No.
Like just making space for yourself, we have been conditioned to see as an act of selfishness.
Yeah.
When in actuality, it is the only thing that allows people to be able to fully show up in their lives. And men take so much space in so many ways, big and small. And we don't allow ourselves the same generosity. We just don't.
Right.
And think about like all the amazing things that could come from it.
Right.
Not just my talk show, guys. But like allowing the space of possibility, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And I want that for everyone. I want that for us. And it feels so hard, like the oppression of the current political climate.
Yeah.
The closing in on all sides that it feels like, getting older, like all of these things, right? Like it just feels like an impossibility.
Yeah.
But I do think like we have to start attaching our life masks first.
Yeah.
Life masks? What are they called? What are they
Oxygen
called?
masks.
Sure. Oxygen masks.
Yeah, I think
We have to. I don't do it.
Yeah.
You don't do it.
Yeah. I get that. I think for me, like it's very much it's fear. It's not so much expectation because I am really lucky. I do have men in my life who do their share and more. I think for me, it's more fear because I have, it's a fear of being replaced or forgotten if you don't just keep coming.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yes.
But we've been taught.
Right.
I talk about this in my fucking book. It was like my first lesson in Hollywood is like, you are expendable, babe. Like the guys, not so much, but you can be replaced like that.
Right.
And it's also just, that's not true. I mean that in the simplest way possible.
Yeah.
Like, there is only one you. Caissie.
Exactly. But in this business that we do and in the things that we do, there's only one me. But there will come a time when naturally somebody wants someone who is not you. And
already. Right.
Right. And so you just have to live with that. So I'm kind of like, well, I'll be damned if I'm going to help that situation exist by not showing up and making it easy for someone to make another choice. I'm going to be there.
But if you're, and I'm not saying this is the case, but if I am showing up at 70%,
right,
or less than,
right,
because of that fear,
right,
whereas if I were to take the space, suck that oxygen down,
and then come back,
come back at 100,
yeah.
Like when I think about that time in my life when I really took that space and then came with such clarity.
Yeah.
I was firing on all cylinders. I was at 100.
Yeah.
And I'm not there right now at all.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just not.
I don't think anyone is.
I know.
Is. Yeah.
And that's the point of Brene Brown's post, which the last 2 years have taken a fucking toll.
Right. And by the way, I would feel weird about someone that I felt was firing at 100. I'd be like, what are you ignoring that everyone else is not, or I would feel weird about it if someone was like, oh, I'm totally okay.
They're like, I'm just really invested in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Right now, that's my main focus.
That's my main focus. And
it's just I'm making t-shirts, I'm selling them. I'm watching daily, making sure I post ad nauseum about it.
To raise awareness
about what's really at stake here and what's really going on. So that's where I'm at.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I did my best at this week is just being we all fucking deserve to be here as much as anything. And yeah, we do. We deserve to take up space in no matter what our state of readiness is to share our writing, even if it's just in the idea phase or even if we're on our 7th draft of something.
God, and do you know how many screenplays of men that I've read that are so half-baked? It's scene to come.
That is that is something that I shared with the women this week. And that, really some people were painstakingly agonizing over a choice of a word or how their cover page looked or whatever. And I was just and one woman, I hope she doesn't mind, I'm not going to say, but she had gotten feedback. Someone in the industry had invited her to share their work and email her work. And the feedback she had gotten was you have a couple spelling mistakes in here. That was the overall feedback on an entire script that she had written. And she was kind of rightly crushed by it. But I'm that's just someone who's trash.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of dream crushers out there. Let's be real.
Yeah.
People love to crush a dream, y'all. All right. We got to go. This has been 75 hours.
It
long,
really hasn't. But, you know, we do have to go. It's true. I have to check out of this hotel and drive to the airport.
And edit before you get on one of your 2 flights.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, that's what we got to do.
Hustle it up.
Hustle it up. Tomorrow, I hope your line is invisible. And I hope my line stays invisible.
Tomorrow, I hope your line is invisible as well. I know you're going to be very excited to see all your people.
I am excited. It's my son Lincoln's 20th birthday today, and I'm missing it.
Jesus.
Because of this, but it was
crazy.
important, and he understood. And he was like, I fully expect a celebration, but I'm not an exact day bitch. So do what you got to do, and I'll see you when you get home.
That's crazy. 20 years old.
20 years old, my little guy. That'll be you one day.
I mean, like immediately.
In a
feels
second.
like.
Yeah. It really, I hate when a cliche comes true. Some shit that I rolled my eyes at
Annoying.
1,000
So
times
annoying.
about how it all goes so fast. And I'm like, yeah, it all goes so fast. But I hope everyone who has a mother or is a mother had the kind of day that you needed this Mother's Day, because I know it is not fucking easy. It's fraught. And I know I saw one friend online say, well, I got hit. I think she was trying to avoid just knowing about Mother's Day at all because of her personal history, and almost made it to the end of the day and, you know, didn't get what she was hoping for or needing in that day. So I hope everybody got what they needed, or most of what they needed, because, you know, that is also like taking up the space that you need and taking the space that you need, which is, those are 2 different things, but also the same person probably needs both of those things to be as true as possible. So I just hope that you got that. And I hope that you're feeling a little relaxed and renewed. And thank you for spending 7 hours with us. It wasn't really 7 hours, but it's getting there. It's pushing it.
This is pushing it. I think we could lose the whole photo booth conversation at the top. I don't think anyone needs to know about Mike or the crane or anything, but it's fine. If you cut it out, leave this part in, and then
About
we'll
you
release
talking about it?
Yeah, and then we'll release it as an extra
Listen, busy. Here's what I'll say. And I'm not to be like, we love you guys so much. We love the people that listen to the podcast. But people were really asking for us to release the scrapped podcast that we scrapped because we decided it was pointless last week. And I'm like, it was really just us, like, you know, you had like pre-COVID brain fever and, you know, or was it during COVID?
I don't even remember what I was talking about.
No,
we didn't know I had COVID yet.
Yeah.
It was the Girls 5 Eva premiere.
Yes.
And I literally don't remember.
Yeah. And so I'm like, it's so ephemeral in nature, but people are like, you know, that it doesn't matter. Like something else happened that took precedence over it. And people were like, no, release it anyway. Release it as a bonus. So, I mean, like, listen, I'm just listening to what the people say they want. 3 hours talking about photo booths.
Listen, all 270 of you are angels. And I do need to sleep. Maybe tonight I'll get a good night's sleep.
Maybe tonight you'll sleep and your line will be invisible tomorrow. Let's all cross our fingers.
You should see what I'm doing right now, guys.
She's putting on concealer.
Under my eyes.
Under eye concealer. Because, you know.
Circles.
Yeah.
Those circles are real.
No joke. All right, everybody.
All right.
We love
you guys.
We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh no.